Just one more pick, JJ, please.
Oh, Mama, really?
Smile. It's not every day my eldest son graduates.
I couldn't have done it without you.
All without Auntie Jane's generous support.
Here is to Auntie Jane's well-appreciated World Remit money transfers.
World Remit Corporation is licensed as a money transmitter by the New York State Department of Financial Services, as a foreign transmittal agency by the Massachusetts Division of Banks, number FT 1179663, and licensed by the Georgia Department of Banking and Finance, NMLS 1179663, Massachusetts Foreign Transmittal License, FT 1179663.
World Remit, a better way to send money. Download the app or visit worldremit.com.
Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. It's true. For most people, your health insurance program increases as you grow older. That's why the state of Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. If you are 65 years and older, there's one thing we can all agree on. Your health and well-being is important. Whether you are a recent green card holder or retiree, asylee or without paper, you're now eligible for the Illinois Medicaid Health Insurance Program. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. Documents needed to apply: your proof of ID, your proof of address, and your proof of income.
All right. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're watching from. My name is Alfred Amuzu, and welcome to the Ghana Agenda for May 7th, 2022. Today, we are looking at Ghana at Crossroads, which was a speech given by His Excellency, the former President John Dramani Mahama, on May 2nd. He went into details and talked about all the issues currently impacting Ghana. We are going to take this under a couple of thematic areas which were actually outlined in the written copy of the speech. I have the written copy here, so we'll be talking at that. We'll look at what he described as a broken social contract. He talks about a litany of promises, mouth-watering promises under which the MPP came into government, and whether they were delivering on those promises or not. We'll go into that details. We'll talk about what he described as economic mismanagement and hardship. We talk about litany of excuses being given by the current administration for all the issues that we are currently experiencing, and then we'll go into the specific of each of those excuses. By the way, I'm watching my team play Manchester United, and we are currently getting smashed. So if you see me watching my left-hand side, that is exactly what I'm doing. And he says that current leadership has refused to take responsibility for all the things that are going on, and that is not the right way to do things. So like I was saying, he went into the specific excuses that we are currently hearing, we are hearing
Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. It's true. For most people, your health insurance program increases as you grow older. That's why the state of Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. If you are 65 years and older, there's one thing we can all agree on. Your health and well-being is important. Whether you are a recent green card holder or retiree, asylee or without paper, you're now eligible for the Illinois Medicaid health insurance program. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. Documents needed to apply: your proof of ID, your proof of address, and your proof of income.
Okay, welcome to the Ghana Agenda. I was, talking to myself earlier. No sounds, but sorry about that. I'm having a little bit of technical challenges here. So if you can hear me, please indicate that my sound is okay. I see Boss Linger, and not Boss Linger. I see Akwesi B Nimo already giving me the thumbs up. Akwesi, thanks you. Without you, I wouldn't have known there's no sound. So thanks so much for giving me the heads up. So today we are talking about Ghana at Crossroads, which was a speech given by His Excellency, the former President John Dramani Mahama. He talked about a lot of things, and he actually categorized them or bucketed them in specific thematic areas, and we'll be looking at those areas. He talked about broken social contract. In other words, he says that the NPP government came into power with so many mouth-watering promises, and it appears that those promises are not being fulfilled, that the president, Nana Akufo-Addo, promised that he was going to change the country in 18 months after taking over from him, and that we did not see that. He talked about economic mismanagement and hardship. He says that this government has had about 500 billion cedis of resources made available to it through the amount of loans and revenues they have collected from taxes and etc. And that we are not seeing, or we've not seen any tangible development from all the money made available to them. He says that much of that money has been used for consumption, and that has been used for consumption instead of investment into things like CAPEX, which is the capital expenditure. He says so much. He says most of our revenue handles, like ESLA, has been collateralized, for example, to 2035, something which was supposed to be a 5 years tax charge on petroleums, that it has been extended for all the way up to 2035. He says 10 billion of GET fund has been collateralized for 7 years. He says most of our resources are getting collateralized to the extent that they were even trying to collateralize Ajapa, which is our gold resources. He says that even that there is information out there that the current heritage fund, which is the reserves or the funds that we reserve from our petroleum resources for future use, has also been collateralized. It's in the process of being collateralized. So we'll go into all those details as the discussion continues. He says that this leadership, or the current leadership of the administration, is one that doesn't take responsibility, or is not interested in taking responsibility, but rather give excuses. And then he went into what he called litany of excuses, excuse after excuse, and went into the details of each of those excuses. He talks about the COVID-19 excuse that is always being given. He says that COVID-19 obviously affected every nation, but that we've received almost about 30 billion for the revenue shortfall that we experienced. He says we experienced about 12 billion cedis in revenue shortfall, but we had 30 billion available to us through the various donations, one being a $1 billion facility from the IMF, $200 million US from Stabilization Fund, the $430 million US from the World Bank, and the $400 million out of the $1 billion US SDR provided to the Bank of Ghana. He said we also took 20 billion Ghana cedis from the Bank of Ghana. So all that was available to actually shore the revenue shortfall that we experienced as a result of COVID-19. And that we should come out of COVID-19 unscathed. But instead, we are where we are. He says he talks about the Russian-Ukraine conflict excuse, and that the Russian embassy came out to say that they shouldn't be blamed for our current economic issues, that those issues were there before the war, before COVID, etc., etc. He talks about the financial sector bailout excuse, which we will also be going into. He talks about the excess capacity payment excuse, and he went into the details of our current peak load, etc., etc. We'll be going into that when I'm joined by my guest. He went on and discussed e-levy and what he would do when he comes back into power in 2025. Essentially, he says he's going to abolish e-levy. Then he went into something he called misrule, and that's I would also be, raising questions from when I'm joined by my guests. And then he provided 13 good alternatives. We'll be exploring all those 13 alternatives to see exactly whether they would be the ones that actually takes it out of our current economic issues. And then he went into something else is called a stronger social fabric for sustainable democracy. In other words, he's saying that we are becoming overly politicized, that our social fabric is getting torn, that we should also work at that. So these are just a cursory overview of what we heard from the former president. I will be joined today by my regular panelist, Afa Amoya. Of course, we have a new entrance today, which is going to be Mr. We'll also be joined by Mr. Ofayao Ajakwa, who's going to be appearing on the show for the first time. He'll be joining us. Paul Disoso will be joining us. But I also want to wish the chairman of the NDC a very happy birthday today. Today is her birthday. I'm talking in the person of Mami Abadazi. Mami, happy birthday. I'm supposed to be there today, but due to one or two circumstances, I was not able to make my trip. But I have provided for, I've sent my gift. So you will receive my gift. When you get it, please let me know. So happy birthday to Mami Sawa Abadazi. I'm currently joined by not Paul, but the venerable MPP spokesperson, Afa Amaya. I'm going to bring this picture so you can see him. He's always on the road, a busy man, but he makes time for us, which is something we really appreciate. People are watching us already. Konimo says, Akwesi Dimo again says, thanks, my boy. He says, okay, Kakape is on. Thank you, Kakape. So Kakape, welcome to the show.
Thank you, boss. Always a pleasure.
Thank you. So, Agape, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick break just to see where everybody else is. So, take your time. I know you're on the road. Hopefully you get to settle in at the time we start the conversation. But I've done some introduction here of what we'll be talking about, which is all the issues raised by the former President John Dramani Mahama in his speech, Ghana at Crossroads. He said we are at Crossroads. Where should we go? Should we go left? Should we go right? If we go left, what we are going to run into? If we go right, what we're going to run into? But we want to look at those two options that he has provided and some of the alternative solutions that he has proffered. He proffered about 13 good of them. But when we get back, we would go into the details. So stay put, don't go anywhere. Please, if you're watching, let your friends know that the Ghana agenda is on. Today's topic is one interesting one. We've heard from the former president. We heard from the vice president. Even the president spoke to us on May Day. We have so much to digest. We'll be back and we'll get into the details.
Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. It's true. For most people, your health insurance program increases as you grow older. That's why the state of Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. If you are 65 years and older, there's one thing we can all agree on. Your health and well-being is important. Whether you are a recent green card holder or retiree, asylee or without paper, you're now eligible for the Illinois Medicaid Health Insurance Program. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. Documents needed to apply: your proof of ID, your proof of address, and your proof of income.
All right, welcome back to the show. I'm waiting for a few people to join so we can start. If you're watching, please share the link. This is the Ghana Agenda. Just lost the file who was here a couple of minutes ago. But yes, so if you're watching the show, please share the link so we can start the conversations. Today we are talking about what we heard from the former president, John Dramani Mahama. He made a few emphatic statements about our country and the things we are going through, and what we are hearing from our president in terms, or our government in terms of explanations. I want to take the opportunity again to wish this beautiful lady here, who's the chairwoman of the NDC, a happy birthday. So happy birthday, Mami Abadazi of the NDC, the chairwoman of the NDC. She's doing a fantastic job here in the USA. So let me caveat that. She's the chairwoman or the chairman of the NDC in the United States. Her name is Mami Abadazi. Today is her birthday. Wherever you are, drinking whatever you're drinking, please toss a glass for her for all the good work that she is doing so far. I can see any more. Well, you already read your statement out. So guys, if you're listening to me, I also want to hear your thoughts about what we heard from the president, the vice president, and the former president. They've all made statements. Now, some of what the former president said, which is what we are actually going to go into details about today, border on issues of what he calls broken promises or broken social contracts. What does he mean by that? By broken social contracts, he's referring to the fact that, you know, the MPP coming into government in 2016 has made several different promises, one of which is that they are going to transform the country in 18 months. That in 18 months, the surface of Ghana will change. One of the promises is that they'll move the country from, and to do so, they said they are going to move the country from taxation to production. Remember, Baumia, when he says taxation to production, from taxation to production, they want to move Ghana from taxation to production. Have we seen that? The former president said we have not seen that. That they are instead introducing additional taxes, increasing current taxes. They've introduced the COVID tax. They've introduced tax on electronic transactions that we are currently talking about. They've introduced sanitation taxes, etc., etc. But also, they've taken some taxes out. So we will go into all the details on that. You can hear my wife in the house trying to session the kids. Sorry about that. Anyway, so we are going to go into all that soon as I'm joined. So he says, and I'm going to quote him on this. He says that an assessment of our current conditions shows that what is happening now bears very little or no resemblance to what was promised. How are you feeling? Do you think all the promises that the government or the current administration made prior to coming into power has been fulfilled? They said they were going to give us free SHS. Have they not fulfilled that? Or you are not satisfied with what you see with the free SHS? Those are some of the things I want us to go into when my guests actually managed to get into the studio. I'm still waiting for, if I was here earlier, but he has to drop off. Also, Espo is getting ready to join us. I think I just got Espo now. Kojo DC is also joined. and I'll be introducing each of them shortly. I'm getting a call from Paul DeSosu. Paul, I'm live, and I'm telling everybody I'm getting a call from you. So join the show if you can. And Paul, can you hear me? Okay. All right. Join 3 minutes. No problem about that. Okay, great. So Paul is going to join us in 3 minutes, as he said. I have the crew. Really. So we'll get ready to start. Let me introduce Ofa Espo. Espo, you're coming here for the first time. I just noticed that your lighting is really bad. It's kind of hard to see you. But if you can find where you have a bright light and face the light instead of turning back from it. Make sure you are facing the light, and that would give us a better picture. Okay. While he's working on that, let me also bring in the venerable, the outspoken spokesperson or deputy communication director. Matter of fact, this guy is actually going to be, if my business begins to do well, I'm going to have to get Efa to speak for my business, because the emphasis and where he lays them will just blow you out. Whether he's telling you the truth or he's trying to convince you or something, it doesn't matter. Just listen to how he puts emphasis on. But what I actually really like about him is his dedication to the show, and the fact that when others are presenting, as I was telling him yesterday, he takes copious notes and comes back to hit them where it hurts. So welcome to the show, Mr. Efa Amayao.
Thank you, boss. Thank you very much.
Great.
Thanks for the introduction. And then Wafa greetings. So
all right,
I salute. Oh.
All right, let me bring in my big brother here, Kojo DC, who lives in the same city as me. Kojo DC, also another businessman, always on the road, making money for the MPP.
If I may, now apom to say.
Yeah. So, Mr. Kojo, if you can hear me, let me hear your voice. Make sure your mic, everything is good. I can see your picture, but.
Yeah, I might have to dodge you on picture today. I'm driving, but with the respect for your show and yourself, I have to be on here.
Perfect.
First of all, greetings to my Deputy Director of Communication, and then Ofa himself. I think this is the first time. I might patch very soon, so you will be able to see me, Ofa. So thank you, and to all your viewers and then listeners as well.
Thank you so much. Well, when we started the program, I had some little technical difficulties, so people really couldn't hear me. I went on and on about the things we'll be talking about today, which is definitely what we heard from the former president, John Dramani Mahama, on May 2nd, when he gave what he referred to as Ghana at Crossroads, that we need to take the right course. People are saying because he's been in government before, that he has a record. And so we are going to look at all that. His record, what he's saying has been promises that the MPP has actually campaigned on and failed. He talks about the litany of excuses. He went into the different various excuses. He went into the COVID excuse, the the Russia-Ukraine excuse, the excess capacity stuff. And then he proffered some alternatives. So now, if we are ready, let's get into it. Mr. Efa, okay, so Akwesini Mo is making fun of me that Manchester United is done. Oh my God. That is why I'm having a bad day with my technical, my microphone and everything, because I'm here watching the game and we've been hit 4-0. Oh my God. Anyway, that's by the way. We are also celebrating the birthday of...
Are you a Man U fan?
Yes, I am a Manchester United fan, but
your team sucks like the NDC.
Oh my God! Yeah, that the NDC chairman is celebrating her birthday today, so I would like for us to all, celebrate with her. If you're watching us, please, I said whatever you're drinking, please toast it on her behalf. She's doing a fantastic job here in the United States. Her name is Mami Abadazi, and she is, I'm not going to tell you how old she is today, but she's looking beautiful as usual and celebrating her birthday. So please take your time to celebrate with her. Okay, so Efa, are you ready for me, Efa, or let me go somewhere else first? Sure. Oh, Efa, you got the kids in the car. Beautiful. Your mic is off, though.
Yeah, let's go, though.
Okay, great, Afa. All right, Afa, so I don't know if you've taken the time to listen to the president. What I've done here is I've printed the 23 pages of the transcripts of what he has to say, and he has a lot to say. So I want us to segment what he has to say in the various thematic areas that he discussed. The first one's being that there is a broken social contract. He's saying that, you guys saw the MPP came to power with a lot of promises, one of which is that you changed the government, or you changed the outlook of Ghana, our economic situation, in 18 months, that you have not fulfilled that. He says you've also seen a lot of resources in the meantime compared to any other government. So what is going on? Do you accept that you guys have broken your social contract that you have with the people of Ghana, which Marafa was given to you in the 2016 election and renewed in the 2020?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Amuzu. Greetings to everybody, and I'm glad to be here. And we're going to debate the issues. Yes, so we have been told that Ghana is at the crossroads, right?
Correct.
And where it's coming from is where we have a problem with. We have an ex-president who was who has had the privilege of rising through the ranks all the way from, what you can say, when he ascended to the high office of vice president and eventually the president. We were thinking that we were going to see, what it takes. He wouldn't have been much of a problem, if he was a normal criticism, because we would have taken it that he's been there and, he's offering what someone can do. But if he's talking as if, he was there, booted out, and that he can come back and fix certain things, that is where we have a problem. And we're going to take all these things in the context of, what he said. First is, the 18 months sort of thing. So the president said he's going to change the face of Ghana within 18 months when he gets power. Now, if you ask me if that part has been fulfilled, I would say yes. It may be a debatable issue because we look at some of the things we have in place. But you see, between me and you, we will agree with that, if there's a lingering problem and there are prescription of solutions to it, and we see the solutions on the ground, then obviously we can say that, so we are somewhere and we're definitely going to get to our destination. So the issues that we had to tackle when we came into power are the basics, the fundamentals, IMF, those issues about education, health, getting our kids into school and making sure everybody goes to school. Once they were all in there, what are the provisions that we put in place to make sure, paying our debt and, structuring ourselves in such a way that, the economy will not continue to grow down. So between 2017, when we took over, up until COVID hit, we were seeing economic growth and strong fundamentals, and, Ghana was doing pretty much very good, foreign direct investments and all that, employment, paying of our debt, legacy debt, ECG, health sector debt and stuff like that. So if you situate ourselves in this perspective, then you will see that, when the president took over, he really, really did good. That was the main reason why we saw a renewal of the mandate. And we believe that since his mandate was renewed, that MPP's mandate will be renewed for us to break the 8, and we don't have a doubt. It is 2024, and we're going to see what happens. And we can see a consistency and a consistent pattern. Major projects have been accomplished. Housing projects that were started way by Kufuor that were abandoned have been completed. Most projects have been completed in the health sector, in the education sector. We can talk of the 40-year maternity ward at Komfanoche. These are major projects. The ID card have become a hot cake in the country right now. So and then in recent times, even after COVID, we're hearing positive news. I just read the EU saying that Ghana's debt to GDP is becoming stronger and bouncing back. With the new data that they have and all that kind of stuff. So you can always trust us to do it. Have we performed 100%? No. But we've performed creditably to win the popularity of the Ghanaian, for which our mandate will be renewed. So, for purposes of politics, Mahama will try to bastardize that and put us into a certain category. But let us look at his records, sending us to IMF for policy credibility, SS power generation, when we are not ready, when we don't have the means
you are seeing a lot of nepotism, cronyism in your administration, conflict of interest all over the place. He's even quoting that people who try to speak against you or people who are critical of the administration within government are shown out. He cited a case, an example of Domelevo, who was removed from the Auditor and Accountant General's office because he was someone who was critical. So he's citing examples of the social contracts that you have with the people and how you have actually not lived up to that.
So when he cites nepotism and this, you should set an example. Yeah. You should give us examples to buttress your point, not just make the statement and leave it there. I don't think Mahama is going to come into power and appoint MPP people to rule. I've not seen it. At least we demonstrated by appointing Martin Amidu, who came and performed abysmally, and then he had to go for another person to come. He resigned, and then another person had to come in. Now, the issue of Domelevo, when Domelevo was working up until his retirement date, he told us that he has received the best of support to fight corruption by this government. So if you because his retirement age is up and his contract was not renewed, and you want to make a political game out of it, that is up to you. And I don't. If it was a case that his time wasn't due and he was taken out of office, we would have said, oh, okay, something untoward is happening. If the president went a whole way to appoint somebody like Martin Amido, which we all know was dealing with NDC as far as corruption is concerned, he came and we realized that this man can only talk and cannot perform, then that is not us, right? That it is maybe something that is wrong with the institutions. Culture of silence and all these kind of stuff. It's a question of game, right? And how you play it. Now we have a situation where people were just making a lot of noise on the radio, making allegations and stuff like that. It is important that you are invited to give evidence and stuff like that, So we have to allow the security. I haven't seen any country where issues bordering national security is taken lightly. Not in America, not everywhere. People's homes are raided and, they need to come and make sure that citizens are safe. And if they had gone beyond board, we can always talk about it and come to the table and say, hey, this is unacceptable. This is not the way to go. But a lot of cases has also been going to the courts. And we've had a seasoned journalist in the name of Samson Ayinin, who has come out and says some of these journalists are engaged in pure criminal acts. And therefore, when they are pursued, it cannot be construed as this. We are not going to sit here. I'm not going to sit here and say that we are perfect. We've done bad. We've done a perfect job for which there shouldn't be any criticism. The ratings that we're getting from the press, the international body, as far as our press freedom is concerned, we need to work on it as a country and make sure we improve and come back to it. Some of it has to do with the institutions and all that. We have institutions in place.
But it's not just that by working on it. It's an indication of the social contract that you've actually broken that he's talking about. Because
no, we're not. We disagree with that.
Here we are, with a country that was bequeathed with you at, where press freedom was, we were rating all from 23 all the way to perhaps about 30, and all of a sudden, you've taken it to 60. That definitely is lapse in your performance when it comes to the social contract.
It's a fair comment. It's a fair comment to make. Okay, but you also agree with me that our president have been given awards that indicate that he's also doing something good in terms of maintaining the peace and stuff like that. And like I said, yes, that rating is unacceptable, and we're going to work on it and do something. It doesn't mean that we've broken the social contract with the good people of Ghana. We've not. What we believe in that as an institution, we all saw Dampare coming in and putting measures in place to make sure that the police administration gets whatever. Some infractions may have taken place which would have impacted how we were rated and all these kind of stuff. And it is fine. It's a human institution. We improve upon it as we go along. But that is not to say that when you take all that in like in generality, that we have performed so badly that we should be thrown somewhere for someone else to take over. No. I don't believe so. We can always improve on whatever negative is out there, and it's human. Any human being that you get is 100%. No, something is hidden somewhere. Because as we go around, it's sometimes even you're good, it's bad to somebody, and somebody will comment about it. So it is a relative thing. But of course, like I'm saying, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm proud of the press rating. No, government should do something about it. We have to do something about it. And when it comes to some of these things, there are clear cases where you see that people are intentionally portraying a certain thing just to put the nation in bad light. We've had our president say something in Ghana and get an international platform and say another thing. He's being disingenuous over there, and he's not being honest with the good people of Ghana. You cannot say one thing here and say when it borders on the same thing. So it is also very important that we situate ourselves in such a way that we're going to put our nation first and do things in the right perspective. Government has a role, the citizens have a role, institutions have a role, and all of us together we can build a better nation than what it is that we're seeing right now.
All right, thank you so much, Afaf, for those that spirited defense of the current administration, which you speak for as the Deputy Communication Director in the United States. Now, let me bring into the conversation Mr. Espo Yao or Wafa Yao, simply. So, Yao, welcome to the show. I know this is your first time on the show, but you've been listening to the show. You've been a member. You've been on the platform. We've had so many different discussions. You've listened to Afar. Afar has given a very spirited defense to what the former president is saying, that there has been sort of a disappointment in the performance of the current government, and he deemed that a broken social contract. What is your assessment of what you've heard so far from Afar? And do you agree with the former president that this administration has promised so much in coming into government, but they are not delivering on those things?
Thank you very much. Let me use this opportunity to say, how do I say, to greet you, and then also greet my co-panelists, Afar, and then to our listeners and viewers, say hi to all of them. I agree with the president, the former president, who is my boss, by saying that Ghana have come to the crossroad. Indeed, it is a fact that Ghana is in the crossroad, and I agree with him that the current government have broken the social contract that they promised the people when they were in opposition, when the people gave them the mandate. It is a clear fact, because we all know, we can recall that when our brothers Afar and his people were in opposition, like the president said, they promised so much. They gave us the hope that they were the best alternative to come and manage the affairs of the country for us. And they made it clear to the people that Mahama and the NDC were not doing anything good. And as a result of that, the people were suffering. That was what we were hearing in 2016. I think, Mr. Alfred, you can bear testimony to what I'm saying right now. And this is it is something very common that everybody can recall, that in 2016, that was what was keep on recurring on their lips throughout anywhere they go to campaign. So as a matter of fact, when the people gave them the mandate and they came into power, actually we are seeing a different thing altogether. They actually promised the people heaven, but rather end up delivering hell to the people. So if you look at...
What do you mean by that? Can you go into the details? What do you mean by the promise heaven and delivering hell?
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to delve into it as I move on to make my salvation. They promise the people with juicy things, like in the fact of like, we'll be giving you 1 million per constituency. We are going to make sure that there is going to be one district, one factory. There's going to be one village, one dam. Petro was at Ghana, 14 Ghana cedis. They assembled all drivers and made sure they told them that Mahama was insensitive. He was being wicked. And aside, when they vote for them, when they come, they are going to reduce the price of petrol for them so that also their business can move on well for them to get something into their pocket. Are you getting it? So if you look at all that I'm saying right now, these are what I'm trying to say, that they promised heaven. Because 14 Ghana cedis was seen as something which was bad and the people were suffering. So when I come into power, when you vote us into power, we are going to reduce it for you. Are you getting it? So that life will be better than what the situation in which you are. But today, as I speak, how much is it? Are you getting it? You see, there is a proverb in Twi that you see, so when you so what they say, even when they promised them that they were going to reduce it when it was 14 Ghana cedis, should they even maintain the 14 Ghana cedis today? Ghanaians and the drivers will still hold them culpable, right? They will ask them, because you promised us 14 was bad and we were suffering, so we are expecting something good from you. As I speak today, how much is a petrol of gallon? A gallon of petrol? Yes, sorry, a gallon of petrol. As I speak right now, a gallon of petrol is almost 52 Ghana cedis, or 53 or 4. Are you getting it? Yeah. So look at it, from 14 Ghana, when the people you said they were suffering. So you are coming to make it better. And they all supported you and gave you the mandate. Today they are buying it 52 Ghana. Today, as I speak, Mr. Alfred, drivers are working for filling station and their car owner. Because you buy the amount you used to buy before, you can't buy it today. And as soon as you buy, you have to use it to you finish working. You have to go and use what? Part of it to fill your tank and then send your sales to your car owner. So at the end of the day, what you used to get in 2016 to feed your family, you can't get it again. Are you trying? Are you getting this thing I'm trying to make here? So the heaven they promised, that's why I said they promised heaven and they are delivering here. Today, drivers are suffering more than they told them they were suffering in 2016. Even today, I may not say they are suffering. They are dying today under his watch. Are you getting it? Drivers are dying today. Let's see the goods and services in 2016. In 2016, when you are an importer and you want to go and clear your thing at the port, it could be you could clear like 100,000. Are you getting it? Today it is 300, 400,000 to clear the same container at the port. Are you getting it? So if you do the comparison in that arena, you can see that you are rather deteriorated in your business. So the amount of the money that you were using in 2016, of which they told you were suffering, so they are coming to do it better, it has doubled, tripled, and quadrupling. Have you seen it? And it keep on affects everything. So if the price of petrol is today like this, it cuts across all board. It means that goods and services have also tripled, doubled, tripled, and quadrupled. And that is the nature of our country today. If you enter Malata Market, where Baumia used to go and do his economic distance, today a sachet of gari or pure water is about 50 pesos, when it used to be 10 pesos. Are you getting it? So look at the increment. Have you seen it? More than this thing. So let me give you just a rough statistics, a little bit about goods and services in 2016 as compared to 2020 today, 2022, when they promised that they were coming to make things better for us. A bag of cement was 28 Ghana cedis. Today it is 60 Ghana cedis. Woodyside was 6 Ghana cedis. Today it is 60 Ghana cedis. Petrol of gallon was 14 Ghana cedis under Mahama in 2016. Today it is 52, 53 Ghana cedis. Diesel was 14, the same thing. Today it is 55 Ghana cedis. Iron sheet was 180 Ghana cedis. Today it is 680 Ghana cedis. A floor tiles that were costing 55 Ghana cedis is today 120 Ghana cedis. We have a bag of rice, 50 kilos, that was costing 150 Ghana cedis. Today it is 370 Ghana cedis. A bag of sugar, that was 170 Ghana cedis. Today it is 410 Ghana cedis. Cooking oil that used to be sold at 90 Ghana cedis under Mahama in 2016. Today it is 220 Ghana cedis. A flour of that they used to bake the bread and stuff. It was 100 Ghana cedis. It is 440 Ghana cedis. Fertilizer was 75 Ghana cedis. Today it is 420. Are you getting it? Right. So look at the increment, almost a double, triple, and quadrupling. So can you tell me, say, the people's life today is better than that of 2016? It means that all that they are making, they are putting it into what? Goods and services. Everything runs into it. So it is now the country is being run on hand-to-mouth basis. Are you getting it? Upon all that I'm saying, to salary have only been increased to 4%. Are you getting it? But look at the astronomical increment of goods and services. So if I say he promised, what do you call it? He promised the people heaven and delivering hell. You can attest to the fact that I'm on the right path. So moving ahead, you can see that their governance, all that they have said, that's why President Mahama said we are at the crossroads. Because all that they have said, the promises they gave the people, they have broken it. They are not able to fulfill it. They are performing abysmally and making the life of the people rather worse. Because the people today, when they see that and compare their life, their lifestyle, and how they were living in 2016, comparing to today, when they were giving all the hopes, when they were giving all the promises that things will be better for them, they prefer going back to where they were in 2016 under Mahama than to be perishing under the one who promising them to take them to heaven. And that is why Mahama said we have come to the crossroads. When they were coming into government, look at a small country like our country, Mr. Alfred. This government came in, you that was coming to make things better. Mahama was ruling with 87%, 87 ministers. You say it was bad. Good. Kaniel voted for you. We are coming to reduce it. He came with 125 ministers, Mr. Alfred. What does that tell you? Most of the bulk of the revenue and money that comes into the government is being used to pay these ministers for no work done. They created ministries that are not needed. They created ministries that can be joined together. Under Mahama, transport, let me give you a typical example. Under Mahama, transport ministry was being handled by only 2 females, Judge Mutari Bawa and Jifa Ativo. And they were able to manage it well, as did a lot of things that improved the lives of the people of our country and led also our country to grow. Today, it is being divided into 3. We have transport, aviation minister, we have railway minister, we have transportation and whatsoever with their deputies. And all these things is running money that are being borrowed and stuff are being run into these people's pockets for no work done. Look at the security services alone. We have something we call National Security Coordinator. We have the, what do you call it? The Defense Minister, Interior, and then National Security. Name them. Several of them, of this all is not needed. When we come into, we have a Trade Ministry, we have a Zongo Minister, we have Sanitation Minister, we have all these ministries that were created were not needed. They were shambolic. That could easily be emerged into one. They have been separated for people, just creating jobs for the boys. And monies that have been accrued that needs to be used for development were being used to pay them. Look at the minister taking about 125, taking about 16,000, deputy taking about what? 14,000. And transport ministry alone was divided into 3. The railway minister takes his 16,000, the deputy takes the same. The aviation minister takes 16,000, the deputy takes 14, and then the other one. But meanwhile, the 3 sectors were being handled by Joyce Mutari, who was the deputy, and Jifa Ativo, and that was saving us a lot. Are you getting what this is that I'm trying to make here? Right, so if you look at their management, that is why President Mahama said it. The mismanagement of this country has been, we are at this crossroad of which we don't know where to go again until we decide to kick them out, because they mismanage everything of our nature, our situation here have been created by the government. Let me give you a little statistics here, Mr. Alfred. Look at this.
I need to land on that because we have to get other stuff.
Yes, I'm landing on this, so it's just this thing that I'm wrapping up. I'm trying to give you some few statistics here. Look at some few countries here, their population and the total ministers that they have. China has a population of 1.357 billion. They have 20 ministers. Japan have 1,273,000,000 and they have 20 ministers. Britain has 64.1 million. They have 22 ministers. USA has 318.9 million population. They have 23 ministers. Germany has 80.62 million. They have 16 ministers. France has 66.3 million as their population, and they have 16 ministers. Nigeria, our co-African distinct, they have 173.6 million as their population, and they have 36 ministers. Ghana, which has only 31 million, had 125 ministers. So what do you think about this, Alfred? This is why some of the problems, this is where some of the problems started from. We told them and they never accepted it, and they never agreed. And that is why we are where we are today. All the problems and our woes were created by this government immediately they stepped their foot in government in 2017.
All right. Thank you so much for that elaborate presentation there. What I would like to do now is, I think I'm having some difficulties now. My Facebook pretty much cut off, and so we are having some difficulties with that. If you are unable, I don't know if somebody's hearing me and they're unable to catch us on Facebook, but we are on YouTube Live on both Echo Radio YouTube channel and the Ghana Agenda YouTube channel. We've lost all our Facebook feeds. I'm going to try to work that out as I take on the next presentation. So, Mr. Kojo, if you're listening to me, you've heard the two gentlemen spoke. You heard Afar defend the government in terms of whether the government broke the social contract with the people or not. And then you've also heard the litany of things that Afar listed here as promises that were broken, advices that were given to this government that the government did not take, which actually brings us to where we are today. So, what do you have to say to that? Are you of the view that, no social contract has been broken and that the promises that has been made to the people of Ghana have been achieved?
Thank you very much. And then, Afaya, I think you have to run for the propaganda secretary instead of what you said right now. I think that will be very helpful for your party. First of all, let me just tackle a little bit things from what Afaya just said. He was mentioned a lot of things like, how much was fuel in 2016? He live in the United States. How much is fuel now? How much was fuel in just a week ago? And just to help him maybe understand instead of doing propaganda, how much was fuel in 2013 when the former president, took office by himself, handed over to himself? Was it 14 or was it 7 Ghana cities when he took office? So, and who changed all that because they couldn't manage things well? The former president. That's why we went to deregulation, where they say, we're not going to subsidize any fuel again. Government cannot do that. I'm sorry if you hear the noise. I'm working at the same time, but I have to combine both. Right? So what he did was he said, hey, we can't pay you taxpayers. No, we're not going to subsidize any fuel for you. Now we're doing deregulation. Whatever price that comes into the world market, that's what the Ghanaian people buy. Even when fuel prices were down and the dollar was stable, this very same former president, was increasing taxes on the Ghanaian people. So when he talks about prices increasing, I don't know what he understands, right? So you understand? So the problem is, have we broken any social contract with the Ghanaian people? I will tell you no. And the reason is just simple. No government in this world can fulfill every promise that was given during electioneering. And I said no government. The NDC government, if you look at the Imani Ghana, there was assessment that was made. out of the, let's say 100%, they did only 42% of what the promise they made since 2008 to 2016 when they left office. We made a promise to the Ghanaian people. We say, hey, when we come, we are going to help with the private sector, which we believe in, to build one factory for every district. As of now that we speak now, there's 108 that is working. If anybody will challenge me of that, they should tell me that there's nothing of that going on. We promised one village, one dam, which most of them is working. You guys can call it any name you want, but that has been fulfilled. We promise that we are going to make sure that every child, a Ghanaian child of age with sound mind, can go to school, secondary school for free. We have fulfilled that promise. If you haven't, just tell me. We told the Ghanaian people that when we come, there's no way in our manifesto, even on our platforms, that we said that when we come, we're going to reduce fuel. Because this fuel thing has always been, since our Fourth Republic, been something that politicians use. You remember in the 1994 campaign, we were just holding fuel on the platform saying, well, my gallon. We did that. We couldn't do that even when President Kufuor came in 2001. We increased fuel. Professor Tamas, may his soul rest in the former president, did the same thing. And then what happened? When he came, he increased and even apologized for it. So nowhere in our 2016 campaign did we ever even talk about, did we say prices were increasing? Yes, but we never said in any way that we are going to reduce the price of fuel, which we don't control. As of now, whatever former President Mahama is saying, he has no way of reducing fuel prices because he has no control over that. So he's just making the same mistakes that his predecessors made, even including himself. He made it already when he was campaigning in 2012, that I'm going to stabilize everything. He couldn't do it. We went into deregulation.
So what are you saying? Are you saying none of our governments can really do what they promised? Are you accepting that, in fact, you did not deliver on the things that you're saying that you were going to deliver on, or the president and administration promised the people? Are you saying they did not deliver on those things? Because you seem to be saying that Mahama promised this, didn't deliver it, other governments promised and didn't deliver. Are you also admitting that this government didn't deliver on what they promised?
Let me just shorten your answer for you without any admission. If there's always any government that can complete it, there won't be no government anymore. We just complete and everybody's at home. There are needs and wants of Ghanaians, and we are developing. So we can do everything. And you should know that. You shouldn't even ask me this question. Like, oh, am I conceding that one? No government, even here in the United States, they always need something. Things deteriorate, you have to repair it. And so if you build a road from Accra to Kumasi in the next 10 years, and there's another government comes in twofold.
They're saying you specifically say that you would have the country change in 18 months. Among other promises, which of course you heard your co-panelists listed, like things like one village, one dam. These are the things that have broken that you have to say.
No. So are you telling me that we haven't done one village, one dam? Wow. So why
have you?
Now, yes, we have. So let me ask you this question. Why
I don't have one village done by the government. So tell me what we did, man.
You might say not all of them have been fulfilled.
Where have the dams been built?
In the north.
Can you list in a northern community where the dam has been built?
Hold on, I can't give you names right now because I wasn't even. I'm driving as I speak to you now. I don't have anything that I can give you.
But you speak for the government. This was done. I think you should know, right?
Hold on. I'll give you something so that you could remember yourself. If there was no bill, why did Sami Jeffrey and what is the name? The deputy national organizer was the Chivani went over and they said we'll build dugouts, and the former president himself will build a dugout, but it's not done. Those are the things that we have done. You might call it whatever name you want to call it, but those are the things that when somebody in Sicily was not having that small dugout that we have done, now is using that to produce that we are eating in the south. Those things weren't there. You can call it a borehole, but at the end of the day, the most important thing is the person getting something out of that borehole and producing and being productive. Of course, yes. So you might even say, "Oh, I'm peeing on somebody's thing and it's growing." That is good. At least we've done something. Call it dam or call it dugout. We don't care. We have made something to improve the Ghanaian people. Of course, we can't do everything in our capacity as a government. That's why government is a continuity. It's not something that you come and you fix all the things and then everybody goes to sleep. No. This is what I want to say. The former president is saying, "No, give me a time. You gave them a lot of time, so let me have the same time and respond to whatever they say."
Okay, go ahead.
He was saying about nepotism. We were in this country, right? Then you hear all of, "Oh, Ibrahim Mahama is doing this. Ibrahim Mahama is doing this. His brother is doing this." Every government comes with its people. Like my boss, Ifa said, no government is coming into being and then say, "Oh, I've won election. Let me go bring NDC people, MPP people to come and hold positions for us." No, it's MPP people who are going to hold position and take care of the promises and the beliefs that we have. So that's so you should forget about nepotism and all of that saying. And secondly, of all the criticism the former president is giving, what is the solution that here? When we were in the position, all we do is whatever the government have put in place, we put alternative in place. They don't prefer any solution whatsoever. Or everybody can criticize. I always say this about the former president Barack Obama. He said it's easier to criticize than to bring a bailout, especially when the Republican people were criticizing, of the Obamacare. He said, "Yes, I'll be the first one to concede if you can give me any proposal which is better than what I have now." And none.
He's offered some alternatives that we'll discuss today. So, I mean, we just need to leave the time so we can go into all that. But
when we come to press freedom, I agree that we've slide down.
We're not talking about press freedom today, right? But
no. He was saying you. How did your brother said Yao said? He said that we went up there and then we are down.
Right.
It's all about communication, right? And every regime comes with challenges. Can we do better than we have done now? I think so. But does it mean that any person can just sit on a console and nowadays any person can just be a broadcaster or a media person?
But that's not what we're saying, though. We are saying that, journalists have been threatened. Some of those threats carried out. Journalists have been killed in our country. We still haven't.
The first time?
Of those,
is that the first time a journalist has been killed in our country?
Well,
that's not the first time.
So
I can give you a lot of
lists. Can I finish? We are not trying to equalize the death of one journalist with something that has happened in the past. That's not what this report was about. This report is telling you that, people are taking those threats, and today people are even self-gagging themselves. Journalists are not free to actually speak because they hear their colleagues being threatened and they are being killed. So if I have something to say, I would want to. Even sometimes people call me and tell me, "Alfred, be careful when you come to Ghana because of the show we do here." I mean, that's the nature of the situation, right?
No. If you say so,
you think that I am because I host Ghana Agenda?
I disagree with you vehemently. Listen,
do you think Ghanaians I hold Ghana Agenda?
No, that's fair. You shouldn't be afraid because listen, you're doing the work and the Constitution of Ghana protects you of having that free speech and also being able to speak your mind as a Ghanaian. So none of that.
But when I witnessed this year alone about 5 journalists being arrested and taken to, arrested and locked up before they are even taken to court.
Was there a reason for it?
I mean, whatever the reason is, some of those things.
So you mean we in animals' kingdom? Everybody does whatever he wants.
We abolish criminal liable for good reason.
It doesn't mean everybody can just go out and speak anything on people.
So you go through the right process, which is to sue them for defamation, not to get the police to lock them up in the first place. Because when you lock me up, You've already put in so much fear in me that, and then you don't even go to the court. Because if there's a problem that you think you should sue the person for, why don't you take it through the right channels? Why are you locking them up? Why are you arresting them? That's the problem.
No, that I understand, and I agree with you when it comes to that. But you have to look at what law was used to arrest those people. Was it a criminal law or was it a civil law
It was a
that
criminal
was used
law.
to arrest? Yeah. So for me, I'm not. What do you call it? I'm not entitled to those laws that was used to arrest those people. But this is what I want to arrive at. Listen, we can do better as a society. We need the media to.
This is not a society. This is just the government abusing its powers, and we need to speak to the truth. If the government abuses powers, let's call it out. This is the government abusing its powers.
Has Nanado gone and to arrest somebody? You say if you have some police officer or a military guy who take the law into his own hands and take actions that nobody have instructed, I know that there are people who are in police uniform, military or national security, who does things without anybody, but they think they are doing it to just please somebody up there. But there's no instruction.
So that's somebody out there to call them to order, right? If that's somebody out there,
that's what I'm arriving at. So
if that's somebody out there is not blessing those activities, he should have called them in order. But he's silent about it. He doesn't comment about this thing. He sounds like this thing doesn't happen. And even if he appears in public and speak, he actually defends those things, saying that the same thing you are saying, that no, you just can't be out there talking and saying anything on radio. But there are avenues in the law for that. If somebody just goes on radio,
so and say, you want the president should be ordering people to be arrested. Is that what you're saying? That will be another time.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying
that's what you're saying.
If some security person is arbitrarily abusing his or her power to please the president should call that person in order.
The president cannot. There are institutions. That's why we have people in institutions that's supposed to take care of those things. The president cannot just sit in there because he's also under a law. He cannot just come out and say, hey, go and arrest Kojo or go and arrest Amuzu. There are institutions they are supposed to take care of. And then if people infringe on people's rights, there are institutions that should take care of that. So we blame everything on the politician without the recourse of taking those institutions that will give him power and mandate. Some of them have
when I even refer to the administration, I'm not really just talking about the president alone. This is the MPP administration. And under your administration, including all the people you put in power, you are abusing journalists. You are arresting journalists. We've dropped in our ranking from 30 all the way to 60 in terms of press freedom under your government. It doesn't have to do with the president alone. It's the kind of people he put together in that he supervises over. If you are the supervisor and you are hearing that the people behind you or below you are misbehaving, you don't just tell me that it's not your job to be telling them to not misbehave. Call your people to order. That's all we are saying, simply.
Let me
land on this so we can bring on this in as well.
What I'm saying is, you said is the president that is not calling people into order. And I'm telling you, the president cannot just arbitrarily sit down in the morning and say, I heard somebody screaming and saying certain things, so just go arrest him. No. There are law and order that's supposed to be followed. That's the reason why I am saying that. But yes, it's under our watch. If good or bad, we are the ones that are going to suffer for it. But I disagree vehemently with the report that came out, because some of the things that were cited, some of them might be true, but in some of them, I don't see no reason why we should fall from 30 to them. Can we improve? We'll have to do something and then investigate it ourselves. That's what I want to say on that one.
No problem. Thank you so much for that submission there and the defense of your government, as usual. Let me bring in Paul Isosu at this point. Paul, your president or your former president has come to indicate that there is breaking the
will you let me respond to that, then Paul comes in? Or
no, let's bring in Paul. Paul is also in DC, so it's from the same stock, right? So Paul, what I really want you to do for me is I want you to launch pretty much comment on two things at the same time. I want you to talk to me about the broken social contract. And if you want to respond to anything you hear from the MPP spokespersons, that's fine. But also, I want you to look at the economic mismanagement and hardship that the president described, and that topic should go around as well. But I want to start that from you. The president is saying that this government has available to it 500 billion cedis, which is more than what any government under this Fourth Republic has ever had available to them. And that with that amount of money, we should see leapfrog in our development trajectory, or we should see a huge uptick in the number of strategic infrastructure programs that we undertake in our country. But that is not the case. What we've actually seen is that all those borrowings, most of which that amount came from borrowing, and a significant part from our tax revenues, he's saying that majority of that was used on consumption, to the point where now our debt servicing, the amount we pay per annum for debt, or our debt service amount, or the interest we pay, has increased about 500%. He's saying that we went from 10 billion annually to now 50 billion annually, and that is even going to get worse in 2025 for some of those bonds that we've actually undertaken that will be maturing. He went on to say that certain basic things, such as even he says that because of the huge interest that we have to pay annually, it has caused what we call rigidities within the economy. He's saying that we can't pay basic things like the capitation grants because we don't have the money, or the money has to go paying debt, and the rest would actually, or whatever we raise in revenue, goes to pay debts, goes to pay interest on debt, and the rest towards goes to pay salaries for public sector workers, and the revenue is gone. So we have to go borrow in order to pay interest. In order to do all kinds, any other thing, even statutory funds are not giving us revenues to actually support the programs for which they've been set up. That majority of them have been collateralized. It says we can pay capitation grant. It says textbook has not been provided for 3 years to students. It says there's a lengthy delay in the release of funds to SHS, and that is crippling the system. He says CHAS and GNAT issue ultimatums to government. He said there has been widespread of reports of food shortage in the SHS. The academic calendar has been erratic. He says even if you go into the tertiary, that UTAC has just completed a strike about their salary rationalization. He talks about the colleges of education. Students have spent more time at home than they have in school. Trainee allowances have been in arrears. He talks about the EFLA being collateralized from 2020, from now all the way to 2035. He says 10 billion of Get Fund revenue has been collateralized for 7 years in what we call Dachi bonds. He says after mortgaging all this that we are even trying to do at Japan, he speculated that even the Heritage Fund, which is monies we save from our petroleum revenues for our future generations, is being contemplated or is being considered for mortgaging or is being considered for collateralizing. What do you say to all this?
Okay, thank you very much.
Because of that, Moody's and other rating organizations lost confidence in our society, in the management of our economy. That is one of the reasons why we have been banned from the bond markets for this year, that we can't go and take bonds again, etc., etc. What do you say to all this?
Thank you very much, Mr. Muzu. I just want to say hello to all the friends over here of Ayao, who is a personal friend, and then Ifa, my brother, and then Kojo DC. See, let me start by addressing some infactual claims made by Ifa and Kojo DC. Let me start by the four. In the first place, number one, Kojo DC, when he was making his submission, stated that Mahama has promised that he was going to reduce fuel when it comes to power. In the 128 page, 28-page presentation that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama made, there was nowhere in that document that he stated that he was going to reduce fuel prices.
I think he was talking about when he came into power in 2012.
No, he never said that anyway.
He didn't say that anywhere, Mr. Muzu.
Yeah.
So
No,
that is
I'm saying in 2012, when Mahama was coming into government, that he promised that he was going to reduce price of fuel. That's why
I'm saying he never said that in 2012.
he never said that. He never said that.
Isn't that
No,
what
no, he did. That is what,
never
exactly
said that.
what I said. That's what I said. Where did we say in our manifesto that we're going to reduce fuel? I even made an example.
We send you the tape.
Hold on.
Okay, let's let Paul continue. Paul, go ahead.
I am saying Mahama has never stated anywhere that when he takes power, he's going to reduce fuel prices. So that is a fallacy. In fact, lies that has been told this afternoon on the show. That's number one.
All right.
Number two, my good friend Kojo DC was talking about they built over 168 factories. That is also a lie.
I said 108. No,
108. That's also a lie. It is not true. This incompetent government, apart from the Ekunfi factory, all the factories they are touting, they are making noise about, are factories that have been established before or are in existence. All they did was to support them with finances. If you come and tell good people of Ghana in your 2016 manifesto that you're going to build one district, one factory, you said you will build. Mr. Alfred Amuzu, go into their manifesto. They said they will build. They did not say they're going to
give me the page and paragraph, please, Paul.
Can I make my submission? They said they will build. Building means they will build from scratch. So coming to tell us that you've built 108, one district, one factory is a palpable force. You have not built 108, one district, one factory in Ghana under your administration. It is a lie. It is probable fault. Look, when you take something like Asapa, where they manufacture alcoholic drink, beverages, that company have been existing for how many years now? All they did was they revamped or gave them some support. Which this thing was done during the Mahama era. In the pharmaceutical sector, we gave a lot of support and funding to the pharmaceutical sector. Should we come out and talk and be blowing our horns that we build those factories? No. So I think when we come here, let's debate with facts and figures. So that's what I want to say about that. He also spoke about one village, one dam. Can Kojo DC point to us which of the one village, one dam that they build that is in good condition as we speak? None. You remember there was a video whereby the then minister in charge of one district, one village, one district, one village, one dam. That is how Akumsin saying that the money allocated to build a dam cannot build any meaningful dam. That video is there for all of us to see. So that fact, I want to state on this show that if you come and sit on this show and be telling the good people of Ghana that you've built one village, one dam, it's a falsehood that my brother was chanting on this show this afternoon.
Right.
We talk about nepotism, and when Efa was talking about nepotism, he said, Nanado did not have friends. And look, let me state on record. Nanado has 52 close family and members who are part of his government, and I can mention all of them, their names. And this is what when we talk about nepotism, this is what we mean by nepotism. In the then former administration, the only close person who is a close relationship to the former president, John Mahama, was Joyce Munta Bawa. This is the only person who was close to the former president family. But in this current administration, you have as much as 52 close family members who are serving in this government. Now, if I was talking about they have done a lot of improvement, they've been able to build the economy. Look, when we meet over here, let's speak with data and fact. Before 2016, at the time that the NDC was handing over to Mahama, Ghana has only one oil field. Before we handed over to Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, we added 2 extra oil fields. So now we have 3 oil fields. At the time that we were in government, we're doing 70 barrels of oil a day as we speak. And then another government, they are doing 180 barrels of oil a day. And at the NDC, we are getting in recouping $6 billion a day as we speak. And then another, they are recouping $20 billion of crude oil money coming into this government. Because of the good work that we did in 2016, the IMF, the World Bank, the CSOs, and other, organizations have predicted that in 2017, our economy was going to grow around 7 points up. And the truth of the issue is that 2017, our economy grew around 7 point something, which is a fact. But Mr. Musu, because of the incompetency of this super incompetent government, we saw a downward trend from 2018, 2019. Let me also state on record over here that in 2019, the budget deficit was 7.2. But a first government reported 4.5 to the good people of Ghana. It's a fraud. In 2020, the budget deficit was 15.7. In 2021, it was 12.5. So, if His Excellency John Dramani Mahama should state that these people promised heaven and earth and they've come doing something else, all the information that was in that document that he presented were facts that can be cross-checked by individual, people.
Right.
Let me also state over here that as we speak, a first government has borrowed over 340 billion Ghana cedi. And if I was making a case that they've been able to build hospitals, they've been able to build, schools, and if I mention one hospital they built, I want him to mention it for me now. You see, you don't come here and come and throw dust and stones into the eyes of our listeners. We are here to speak fact and true to power. I can state on authority that all the submission that my brother Ifa was making, trying to create impression as if this government has used that 340 billion Ghana cedi they've borrowed. They've been able to build hospitals, schools, and all these things. It is not true. All the hospitals that were existing, most of them were built under the NDC. The few that were not completed, the money was available for them. All they have to do was to complete it, and they did complete it. So if Ifa is telling me that those hospitals that they completed, which the funds were sitting there waiting for them to be used to complete it, he was trying to create the impression as if because they completed those hospitals, so therefore the 340 billion they've borrowed, that's what they use the money for. Then Ifa is not telling us truth this afternoon. Now let me move on. You see, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama make a categorical statement that they've been blaming COVID. They've been blaming COVID for the bad economic downward.
I think we'll come there. So if you don't mind, skip that one.
I'm making a point. They've been blaming COVID for the bad economic downward. And they've been blaming the banking sector, and they've been blaming, excess capacity payment. These are the three pillars that the MPP is standing on to lie about the bad economic outturn under their government. But as you said, we are going to come there. I don't know a government that claims to be competent, that is supposed to use 9 billion to revive, to resuscitate the banking sector, will end up using 25 billion, according to the president and the vice president. But the Bank of Ghana came out and told us that they use 16 billion. So even in that place, you could see that there's disparity in the figures they are giving. Whilst the president and the vice are telling that they use 25 billion, the Bank of Ghana said they use 16 billion. And they should have used 9 billion to resuscitate those banks and help those banks. This is how super incompetent the Nanado administration is. Now, Mr. Muzu, I am here to let you understand that this thing that if I was talking about, I mean, and then Kojo DC were talking about, there is nothing with, us moving from 30 to 60, that, all is happening, the government, no. This government, and Nanado has started himself to be a human rights activist. And the Nanado's government, our press freedom rating has deteriorated, and it has never happened to us before. This is the most worst ever rating that has happened to the good people of Ghana. And anytime we come here, we talk about freedom of speech, and that the president himself is an autocratic president who is, suppressing people's freedom of speech. Ifa and Kojo DC will tell us it's not true, but the facts are there for us to say today. I would have loved it if Ifa and Kojo DC would have admitted it and said that there is a problem. Freedom of speech is not the way it is about 7 years ago, 5 years ago under the NDC. We as a government, we admit it, we are going to work on it and make sure that we perform better. Right. But I'm disappointed that they are defending it and trying to create impressive as if it is nothing. But look, let me state over here.
If you can land on that for me, please.
Yeah, let me state over here that a pregnant goat will always be a pregnant goat. You can never hide it.
Right.
Look, the president is an autocratic person. He does not believe in freedom of speech. He's someone who has attacked even the media. You remember, Joy FM made a story about the free SHS. Right. The president was on a platform attacking Joy FM. Is it the president we are calling a human rights president? He does not want anybody to criticize his government. Right. But when he was in the opposition, he called the late Professor Doolittle. Now he is in the seat. He does not want anybody to criticize him.
Right.
I am saying over here that freedom of speech is under threat in Ghana. That is why when I was in Ghana, I don't even go to a lot of radio stations invited me to speak, but I rejected it because I don't want to go there and after that they will be arresting me, which they can do easily. Right. And I'm going to use this medium to appeal to Ifa and Kojo DC that if something is wrong, let's all admit that it is wrong. The freedom of speech in Ghana is not the way it is. And we urge them to speak out to their president, who is an autocratic president, who is a president who never believed in freedom of speech and who never believed in people speaking their mind. All right. The only way we can develop as a country, as a democracy, is to allow people to speak. Aside that, I'm saying that, of course, if you speak and fall against the law need to deal with you. Okay. But not if people express their views, they will send their robots after them. That is not what we call freedom of speech. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. So let's use this few 30 minutes that we have left to do some lightning rounds, which means we'll have at least 3 minutes each to present on each of the topics. And I'm going to keep the time. I'm going to be straight on that. So if you are free to respond to what you heard from Paul, but I also want you to tackle the economic bit where we are saying that for all the resources made available, we expected to see more. But what we have seen is that all the money was spent on consumption. And now it looks like majority of our resources are being mortgaged, which means you're even encumbering on our future revenues, which of course is going to be problematic for the next administrations to come. But beyond that, I'm also going to add another piece to yours so that we can keep the conversation going, which is that there is this lack of taking responsibility. Leadership taking responsibility is not happening. He also says that leadership or the government has refused to take responsibility for the things that are happening. He says instead that you offer litany of excuses, and I see Paul trying to venture into that. But one of the excuses being COVID. They say as far as COVID is concerned, it only cost $12 billion shortfall in our revenue. And that's in place of that 12 billion shortfall in revenue, you've received 30 billion. And he listed all the places that you received them from. He said you got 1 billion facility from the IMF, 200 million USD from The stabilization fund, 430 from the World Bank, 400 million from the 1 billion SDR provided to the Bank of Ghana by the IMF, over 100 million from the African Development Bank, and 20 billion from the Bank of Ghana, when actually you went to Parliament for just 10, but you actually took 20. That's all that was available to you. So there should be no way that we are recording a type of deficit we recorded during the COVID era. And that's countries like even Liberia. Liberia was still able to keep a deficit of less than 3% during COVID era. So, that's, you should take responsibility. What do you say to all that? He's accused you of the financial sector bailout that you hear your colleague Paul talking about, that you spent 25 billion when Bank of Ghana is quoting 16 billion, but this thing should have taken just 9 billion. He also says that on and on and on. He also says that and then of course then we'll go into the E-levy. What do you say to that?
I visited a friend. I have a kid here, so the kid is sleeping. So when he comes in, just forgive me, okay? I'm sorry about that.
Sure.
Yeah.
If you want us to skip you, we are happy to do that.
No. Unless I can just, if you can hear me, but you'll be hearing
we can hear you. So go ahead and
yeah. Okay. So let me debunk some lies. Okay. One. Several of them, but the major one from Yao. Yao said United States has 23 ministers, and he said Nigeria has 23 ministers. You see, you should stop these propaganda stuff. We are here now.
You didn't hear me well. I said 36.
Hold on. Yeah, Nigeria. You said Nigeria has 23 ministers, right?
No. I said 36.
Oh yeah. 36 ministers, right?
Yeah.
And then you said US has 20. All of them are false, but I want just these two. You said USA has 23 ministers, right?
Yes.
20. It's actually 24 departments. So 24.
Okay. Hold on. Now in Ghana, right? The regional ministers are part of the ministers. Am I lying?
Well, we are not a federated country, so we
exactly. And then in here, they have a federal system. Nigeria has 36 federal, so we have governors in all the 36 governors. And these ministers you mentioned, they are not part of this. And
but,
then so
even if you're making that point, right? In the United States, where we have 24 secretaries, if you add 50 governors to that, they're still not close to what we have.
But okay. So if you can let me make your point. So now I've defeated you on one of them, that in Ghana we have regional ministers. Here they are called governors, in Nigeria and Haiti. So that one is not it. Now, so when we go into what we have categorized and called ministry and put people under, here they may call it something. So if you don't have the full picture, don't go and pick up something and come and do propaganda here. Okay,
that is not propaganda. That is the actual fact.
It is not true. Okay, I'm telling you that the number of ministers you mentioned for Ghana, the regional ministers are part of it. Here, they are called governors. So that defeats you. You can add it and try to make another point, but that defeats your point. And that goes the same way when we want to assess the whole system and try to approach it.
I disagree that it defeats the purpose, because the main point is that look at the population of what is the population of the United States? Over 100 and whatever. How many millions do we have?
318. 318.
If you take the secretaries, it's 24 secretaries plus 50 governors.
Amuzu. I know what I'm talking about.
And then the whole point, deputy governors as well.
The whole point here is the whole point. What I'm telling you is that the structures that they have here, for which they've apportioned certain things, if we are to do that in there and then don't call them ministers, man, we cannot even handle. It's what you just put out there is false, and it is nowhere near what we have in the country. Yes, it is accepted that yes. When some people make a point that we have more ministers, I agree. But the comparison you are making is wrong. It is not true. The numbers you are giving is not true. It's not true.
You go on. It is not wrong. That is it. But you go on.
I just told you that governors are not called in Ghana. We call them ministers. Here they call
that
them
is what I'm saying.
And
Our population is what 25, 31 million, and we have 380 million.
Let him go.
What we have in Ghana, that is not true. So that is that. So get that straight. Now, Paul said MPP have borrowed 340 billion. That is not true.
That is you have only 2 more minutes left, please.
When my time is up, you can take me. You can. That is not true. Okay, that is our total debt stock. Okay, that is not what we have borrowed.
That's correct.
How much have you borrowed?
Oh my, come on, man! I'm talking about the lies you put across. So when you come, you tell us how much we have borrowed, and let me go on. And when I'm speaking and I haven't asked you to come in, don't come in because this heckling, I know how to do it.
So get that 241 billion. You've bought 241 billion.
Because he only has 3
but you said 340 billion, right?
It's a slip of tongue. It's a slip of tongue. Admit it.
Okay.
241 billion.
We've not bought 200.
You've bought 241 billion.
No, it's not 41. It's 280 billion.
Don't interrupt.
You are adding interest rate and everything, and then the exchange rate that has accumulated to whatever loan that we take.
DC. You now, if you say that a project, the money is all released, that is also not true. Okay. For instance, if you take the University of Ghana Medical Center, you guys had completed the first phase. There was the second phase. There was no money for the second phase. Okay? We had to go and do a loan agreement for the second phase for it to get completed and operationalized. So if you come here and say there's a project that is ongoing and all the money were available, that is not true. Even in the situations where, let's take, for instance, the Pokwasi interchange.
Please let that be your last point.
Money has been sourced. Okay, but it has not been released until the project starts.
Right.
So let us not come here and say all money were available and you borrowed this and you haven't added on to this. These things, let us get these things in their right perspective and put it on there. Now, when you talk about and then the excuses, Mahama in Ghana says COVID is not a part of our problem currently, but he goes outside the country and he says COVID has affected all African countries.
That's not true. That is not true.
In this
program, that is not true. No misquoting.
COVID is a problem.
What is not true? Did he not say COVID has affected all African economies?
Yes, he said that.
He said that.
Okay, and Ghana is not part of Africa. Ghana is part of Asia, right?
But okay, he did not say that COVID has not affected Ghana. He did not say that. He said COVID affected Ghana, including all other countries, but even the West African neighbors came out of COVID and scarred. Like the way we have the deficit we've reported in COVID, almost 15%.
We are not in each individual country to see the internal wrangling that is going back from forth. And if you want to compare Ghana, you compare Ghana to Liberia.
Yes.
In terms of economy.
Well, it's not a matter of economy. It's a matter of we being impacted by the COVID.
Okay, so when we also compare ourselves to others that we perform better than, why do you have a fit for that?
Which country did we perform better than in terms of the deficit you recorded?
Oh, I mean, I can go for the data. I don't have the data right now, but I can go for the data and we can show.
If you speak these things, you want to have the data because you should have known a country that you perform better than. There's
Zimbabwe.
Oh, who told you there is none?
Zimbabwe.
Come on now. Who told you there's none? We will go and bring the data and come and defeat you. You are always saying this and then we bring the data and we come and debunk you and then.
Your guy says Zimbabwe. What is Zimbabwe recorded in terms of deficits for 2020?
25%. Go check it out.
Okay,
but check it out, you know?
But even right? Zimbabwe.
There we go. Now they're leaving.
We are gonna go check it.
So they are not in Africa. Come on now. We gotta be fair to the discussion, man. There's no need to try to make somebody look good and better than another.
Yeah, but the thing is this. The thing is this, right? Zimbabwe is not even in the West Africa economy. Zimbabwe
okay, so Africa is only composed of West Africa. It's only composed of West Africa.
If I listen, if we're gonna let's make a reason argument, right? If you look at the commonalities and the things we share in common, the commonalities and the shocks that affect our economy, those shocks are similar to our neighbors like Nigeria. Those shocks are, similar to the ones we see in places like Liberia, because they also hold a currency that is not CFA.
So Alfred, you go somewhere and you say Africa. We are having a discussion. You want us to shift to West Africa because it fits into your narrative, and that will make the other look bad. It's not acceptable.
This is why it fits into the narrative. There are commonalities in the shocks that the economy
So when you're speaking, bring the commonalities that we can. So based on what fits you, then you say commonality. If it doesn't fit you, then you say Africa.
No, you can't be comparing Zimbabwe hyperinflation. Zimbabwe's, do you know how much the Zimbabwe currency is against the dollar? Zimbabwe has had hyperinflation for how long? Their Zimbabwe, whatever dollar is.
And then
is not an economy.
We should mention one country that Ghana performed better than now.
And then you mentioned then you go to commonality.
When I say Ghana performed better than, what was Zimbabwe's deficit prior to COVID?
Hey, you said we should give you one. I gave you one.
That's what performance means. You can't say if they were 20.
That is how the argument goes. When they are defeated, they jump onto another thing.
What you should understand is if they were 20, and in COVID, they are 25. That is not a performance that can be compared to a country that says they had about less than 5% deficit before, and in COVID they now have 15. This is about 3-4 jump. That's about 300% increase in the deficit. Is that what Zimbabwe recorded?
Listen, let me just, if I can wrap up so I can come in. If you look at deficit, we are talking about our peers. With that 52 continent African countries, we're talking about our peers, which is about 4 or 5, which all over the world, everybody knows these are the growing, developing economies like the Nigeria, South Africa. If you are talking about those ones, yes, we understand the deficit of our country, and the president had admitted, the vice president had admitted, government officials had admitted, yes, inflation and everything is up. But if you say we have not performed anywhere than any African country in this world, in Africa, in the 52 countries, then I'm sorry. That's what I'm trying to arrive at.
That is valid because when we say performance, we are talking about the increase just due to COVID. We are not saying that if Zimbabwe is recording 20 before and now they record 25, you were at 5. Now you are recording 15. That is 300%. That's almost 300% jump in what you have recorded. That's what we are saying by performance during the COVID deficit. So you have not performed better than any African country. Period.
Okay. Yeah. You're good with that. You're good with that. Now, when it comes to our debt increase, and we say NDC added over 1,000 to our debt stock, and we have not even added up to 500%, or we have not even added up to 300%. Then that one you say, why are you going percentage? So you see the argument, right? The words to use when it suits you.
No. You are obfuscating. You are confusing the issues again. Because what we are saying, if what we are saying here in terms of deficit,
you just use percentage.
No, I'm saying that if you
and
look
then
at
you add Baumia, what did Baumia not use average?
I'm saying you went from 5% to 15%. If they go from 20 to 25, look at the gaps that you have created. Even
13%, not 15%. Where is that? You are getting your 15% from?
Your deficit you reported in 2020 was 15%.
Where? Reported from where?
Look in your budget. Even look in your own budget.
It was 13%. It wasn't
in 2020. In 2020.
Yes.
Okay, we'll check up on that. Everybody else is looking. I'm gonna go dig it out again. But
please.
but
We're
but
going on 13%. We understand. We are trying
but
to cut it to 7.5%.
even this deficit that we are discussing, these are things you disclose without including other debts that perhaps actually stand on your book.
You're chasing rapid hold. Anytime we answer, you bring in another thing.
Well, you are reporting deficit without. You are reporting deficit without including your payment you made in the banking sector cleanup. You report deficit without including, and when you go to the IMF, you actually report the correct number. But a 15%, 13%, I'll disclose that to you in a minute. Afa, can you wrap up so we can take it to him and then I'll show you.
Yeah, and thank you for letting me go ahead.
Perfect.
Now, in the course of their submission, right? They mentioned a lot of things, including prices of goods and things having shot up. They haven't seen one district, one factory, and all that kind of stuff. Now, so we need to understand the bigger picture, and then we can situate ourselves in. You see, we've always had this argument of this person comes, they want to do this. When we went to Parliament and we say we want to do this, then you see, the consensus was, why don't you take care of the existing factories that are there? So it's a combination of both. If a factory is facing financial challenges, they're all coming in there. You don't want to accept that. That is none of us. But what I know is that until we supported Dako Farms, it was a dead business. And now it is revived and working. And the man is praising that. A lot of other businesses like that. But that is you can continue to go build factories or renovate factories and go look for raw materials when you come back to power another time. Now, we are having a discussion. We are having a discussion, and you want to maintain Jifa Ativo, Bas Brandon, and we talk about all these kind of stuff. I mean, come on now, let's raise this thing up to. All that we want to say is that if MPP had not come to power, there wouldn't be no tier 3 Pokwasi interchange. There wouldn't be no Temali interchange. There wouldn't be no one district, one factory. There wouldn't be no one village, one dams. There wouldn't be no ID cards. There wouldn't be a lot of things, ambulances, drones, free SHS, and all this kind of stuff. And the good people of Ghana, this is what we call upon them to look. What have you gained from us, and what did you gain? Is it the Doomso? Is it the IMF and stuff like that you want to embrace? Go for it, and he will come and show you that, the Sino-Hydro project you don't deserve, and that is 58% of that should go to someone else who, if he declares profit, will give some to good people of Ghana. 2024 is MPP all the way. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's go to Mr. Ofayao in this case. Ofayao.
Yes, sir.
Well, you've heard your colleagues. Now, as far as the economic mismanagement goes, if I'm saying, look, without them, a lot of the things that you see today in terms of the hospitals, etc., well, not hospital, he mentioned interchanges, tier 3 interchange, etc., you wouldn't see. Is there any truth to that?
Thank you very much. How many minutes are you giving me? Because I have to know my time. You gave him a lot of time.
I was going to give you, well, let's take 4 minutes, please.
Oh, then he spoke more than 10 minutes. Oh.
Yeah, just do 4 so we can wrap up.
Oh,
I want to talk about other things, so.
Okay. With all that he was saying, all that he's saying is not true, but I don't want to go it that way. Like, I just want to tackle certain things mentioned by Kojo DC, and then I will just wrap it up from there. He said they did what? Free HSS. Free HSS, we all know the condition of free HSS in the country, right? Alfred, you know it, right? When students go to school 2 weeks and come and stay in the house for 3 months, 4 months, most of them got pregnant. Let me tell you, in education, like we started, education is not magic. Have you seen it? We said we should start it progressively, and they didn't understand. If you do that, the children will not pass. Have you seen the results of the free HSS? About 2 times the results that came. About 70% of them cannot enter tertiary education.
Right.
Have you seen it? It means that, Alfred, they were not well prepared. Education is not magic. Are you getting it? About 70% of them cannot enter tertiary. So what have you done? Cause 0. Because you end up buying past questions for them to learn and pass. Why do you think you are providing them past questions? It means they were not well prepared. Are you getting it? Please, I have the floor. Please don't jack me up. Please. When you were talking, I didn't talk. Let me Please let me talk. Please, I have the floor now.
Let's do this. Just
I have the floor now. Please let me tell you. When students come, we don't have the same. Learners are never the same. Okay, we have to look at the learning. When students pass, some people come out, they get A's and stuff. We have exceptional children. Oh. We have to know that we have 4 types of categories of learners. We have the high, middle, and low, and then we have the exceptional child. The exceptional child, no matter how the situation is, that child will pass. When you talk, most of them, with their ignorance in education, they will be mentioning that boy who went to that village in a Kasua area and had 8 A's, and then they will be, that child is an exceptional child. No matter what those students, no matter how the education is, they will pass. Are you getting it? And students from educogenic environment. When I say of educogenic environment, it means students who have parents that have knowledge in education. When they come out from that and they are into these schools, no matter how the preparation goes on, they will be able to maneuver through. Alfred, are you following me? They will be able to meander through and they will make the passes. Are you getting it? But if you come to those that don't have any of this, don't come from the educogenic environment, and they are just from the farming area and so, they all fail. And if we are saying they will not listen, look at the results of the free HSS that have come out about 2 or 3 times and look at it. The few that make the A's doesn't mean they have all passed, Alfred. Most of them have failed. They have failed in mathematics. They have failed in those things that will not take them anywhere. They end up being in the house. Are you getting it? What I'm trying to say over here. So you don't just come because 5 people have passed and they are there, so they have passed. That is no. We look at how many people can go into tertiary. And that is it. Let me come to, he said what? 1 district, 1 factory. You all know, as my brother Paul was saying, a factory that was manufactured when I or Fire was not born. Everpure, energy and those things. It's 1 district, 1 factory. If Mahama and the NDC wanted to build our factory that way, then Mahama built 1,000 factories. It's not your 120 that you are talking about. There is no factory anywhere apart from a Kumfi factory, a Jew that they are talking about. They are lying. All our factories that have been either refurbished or they are giving them some money, support. If Mahama wanted to count those factories, then the pharmaceutical companies, the Bedita, the Tombiko, the whatsoever mentioned them, the poultry farmers and stuff, they were all given subsidies by Mahama to expand their business and employ people. Alfred, did he mention it as 1 district, 1 factory? And you told us that in your manifesto, Alfred, they told us they were going to build factory from the scratch. Each district was going to get a factory, and as a matter of fact,
what page of the manifesto? Please,
let me in America here. Let me give you. You know Kwakuche? Maybe you don't know him. Kwakuche was your speaker. He was speaking for you here. He told us even in 2016, 51 of them was ready already, of which they have put everything already. In the Mahama, the president himself told us that by the end of 2017, Alfred, if you are not headed, I'm telling you, and go and cross-check. By the end of 2017, 51 of the factories will be ready. In 2018, the same thing, December, like that, and 216 will be finished in the period of 4 years. How many of them were established? That is why I'm telling you that this government, they are naturally born liars. Let them tell you another factory, Alfred. If you like, go and check, Google and look for Zonda. Zonda is a mechanical company from China. Do you know what they do with? They deal with long trucks, the big trucks. Big trucks. So when you go to Ghana, they have 2 branches. They have one in Insawam, they have one in Tema. Do you know that this MPP went and put their banner in front of the one in Insawam that it is 1 district, what they build it? Solid truck, a truck that costs $80,000. I'm telling you, Maakunta bought one from them in Insawam. I went there with Maakunta, and when I went there, I saw the banner there. 1 district. You see, they are not ashamed. There are several of them. Like Paul said, and I'm giving it to you right now. So if that is the way you are going to build the factories, then Mahama built thousands of them. We didn't name them because we gave support to expand it. Are you getting it? Now let me come to what he said. 1 village, 1 dam. We saw it in a dam that has been constructed. They told us that 2 cows can just stand and consume all the water in the dam. Alfred, is that a dam? Even the minister in charge, the Minister of Special Initiative, came to tell us that 250 cannot build a meaningful dam. Alfred, are you not aware of this? Yeah. So if you know you cannot use 250,000 to construct a dam, why are you wasting the nation's money? Okay. So that a cow A cow can just go, 3 cows can finish the water in a whole dam. Are you getting it? That is the nature. I'm wrapping. You gave me more minutes. Give me about 2 minutes to wrap up, please.
I want to bring you back. That's why.
I let me wrap up now. I'm wrapping up. So looking at the debt, actually, they have borrowed 280 billion. So right now, our debt stock is 400 billion. Are you getting it? And they have nothing to show. All that they can show us is polytank and toilet. Polytank and toilet. These things, infrastructure is meant for assemblymen to go and commission. That is what they use 280 billion, including all the taxes and stuff that they have taken. Are you getting it? So they have borrowed so much, they have gotten so much. Like Mahama said, we have given them 2 oil fields in addition to one that we use. They have 3 oil fields flowing. Are you getting it? We're harvesting almost 100,000 barrels. They are harvesting 200,000 barrels a day under their watch.
2 cows.
Are you getting it? So if you look at all these things, Amuzu, that is why Mahama said we have come to the crossroads. It is really true. We have come to the crossroads because all that is happening is the mismanagement of these people. They have the resources, but they are only putting the money into their pocket. All the money they borrowed is into the pocket of them, the government officials. They have created a whole constituency in Flagstaff House. About 2,000 people are in the Flagstaff House. What are they doing? We want them to give us an MP from the Flagstaff House because those people there, we don't know what they are doing. It's a whole constituency. They should give us an MP from there. And all the money that they borrowed is going into this individual's pocket, and they have mismanaged everything. That Ghana is completely in disarray because our debt to GDP right now is 85%. And let me end with this, Alfred. If you are running a country, where your debt to GDP is 85%, what are you going to use for development? That is why there is nothing. There is nothing going on and nothing will go on. All the agenda 111 they are talking about is repackaging because they told us in their manifesto in 2016 that they were going to build hospitals in each region. Alfred, let me end with this. Time, you want to see me? We're going to build hospitals in all the regions. At the end of the 4 years, they didn't build one. Then they repackage it to Agenda 88. 88 in 1 year, they didn't build one. Then they repackage it into Agenda 111. That one too, we don't know how they are going to build it. You see, and that is the MPP for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, Kojo, let me bring you in, right? Kojo, can you see my screen? If you don't mind, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, that I'm sharing. Okay, great. So
I
this is
see, but I can't read it. So just to be sure, I can see the screen.
I'm going to expand it for you so you can read it. Can you read line 19 for me?
No, I can't see it. I'm driving. To be frank with you, you can just.
Okay, I'll read it to you.
Read it for me.
It says, including the financial sector. This is the 2022 budget, right? And it says, including the financial sector and the energy sector related expenditure, the deficit was 15.0% of GDP. So this is in your own budget. So when I quote it to you, don't think I'm just pulling that number from the air. But anyway, you have the opportunity to respond to what you've heard. Now,
all right, let me go ahead and respond to see concerning the free senior high school. This has been the past 3 years of the graduate that has come has been the best result ever. You might say yes. In some of the cases, even when we're on our days, some of the kids, they still don't pass mathematics and all of that. Mm-hmm. But why?
I think we are having difficulties with your sound, Kojo. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Okay, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Yeah. So yes, why is it that if the kids are not passing, why is our tertiary institutions are all overflowing? Why? Is it because we are bringing people from outside the country to bring them, or the Ghanaian people? So they should stop this. When it comes to education, right? It's something that we should not do propaganda with. It's something that we all have to be thinking of. How are we going to do to improve this thing? So what he is telling me that we shouldn't do free SHS, so we can leave over 400,000 kids at home without being educated. So there can be this propaganda that we will not see that lies they've always been telling us. Is that what he's trying to say? So some of them, with their rich dads, they can go to school, but the poor kid living Chabia Pepem or whatever it is, village it is, they cannot go to school. But if a kid in North can go to school for free, but a kid in the South, which parents doesn't have, cannot go to school. That's what the NDC is telling us. And we chose in the different part. We said, no. As for taxpayers, every Ghanaian kid has the opportunity to at least have a secondary education. Let's come to the economy then. The former president.
Well, with the secondary education, let me press on that a little bit. He's saying that there are lengthy delays in the release of funds that have crippled the free SHS program, compelling stakeholders like Charles and GNAT to issue ultimatums to government. And is that true?
Don't even continue.
Schools were closed in the north under his watch. Schools were closed under his watch.
Let me also give you more, and then you can respond to that. And then he says there have been widespread reports of food shortages and nutrition deficient, poor quality food in schools across the country. And he says the academic calendar has become erratic due to non-availability of funds to run the schools.
No,
these are the things about SHS.
There's always a delay in payment in terms of government payment to schools and all of that. There's always going to be like that. And this is not the first time. But this is the person who is speaking, right? That even promised to make a 3-day secondary school for the kids, was not able to pay for it. It was just 39 Ghana cedis for each student, was not able to pay for it. There was no chalks to write in any school, right? And if you talk about such a person talking about school being underfunded, it's terrible. See, we didn't expect Ghana to Nigeria or either to bring any revenue to do the free estimate. We had the same resources that they said we couldn't do, and we are doing it, right? Let me come to the economy so that your time is up already. So this is the president, right? The former president. Was handed over with a GDP of 14.7%, running down to 3.7%, and he's talking about the economy. The person that when we're giving the opportunity to run the country, he took us to IMF. Why? Handed over to himself and went to St. James and said, hey, listen, this is what is happening in St. James. Me, handed over to myself, I've mismanaged all the resources that we have been eating, all the meat is left with the bone. So let me go to St. James and go get homegrown. And I promise you guys, Ghanaians, I will never take you to IMF. Guess what? Just in 2 months, we're in IMF. And if such person, and y'all said, this is the worst Kwatakwa man speaking. He has no ideas. He lacks ideas of how to manage the country. And we thought he could have been the best because he has a lot of experience in terms of being assemblyman, minister, and all of that today, but he couldn't perform. Why? Because he has no idea how to perform when he's in government. He can speak the big English, which I understand. It's the hallmark of the NDC. They all can speak that orator speaking, oh, we can do this, but when they come, they can't perform. Let me go on to this one, so that I will wrap it up.
Oh, wrap up for me quickly so I can take a break.
No. I want you to go. I'm not going to waste time.
Fred.
He said that.
Fred, can I give my time to Ofayao? I want to give my time to Ofayao to speak.
Okay.
Oh no, you can't. Okay, that's fine. Listen,
hey, let's wrap it up so we can go on e-levy, and then the alternatives is also proposed.
This is the man who said that he can revive the economy, but he has no idea how. He even went to IMF. Couldn't believe himself that the unemployment graduates were picnicking at the Ministry of Health. There were about 4 graduates that have come from they couldn't find job. So somebody like this, when they are talking, it's just pity. See,
okay.
When we came, no, let me finish. Let me finish.
Yeah, you saying that
there was no Nissan in Ghana when we came to office. There was no VW when we came to office. Was it? There was no Toyota. Like Toyota is there, but there was no Nissan. There was no VW over there. We are bringing that the Reno or Rhino. There's none of them when we came into government. And then the factories that he was talking about, nowhere in our manifesto did we ever say that we are going to build. So we said we are going to assist the private sector, which is the engine of growth.
Even today commentary, you guys claim we built 108 factories. That's what you say. You don't say,
no.
You know, you don't say you've assisted.
It's wet. So I will understand where you're coming from. But this is the performance of a government that have been able to assist. If that's what you want me to use, we've been able to assist the private sector to build up to 100. And
that is not even true. The private sector hasn't built. You've not assisted the private sector to build 108 companies. No, a lot of those companies are already pre-existing. You may have assisted them by providing them some funding, but you have not assisted them to build new companies from scratch. So again, the words matter.
No, so that's the propaganda and the falsehood that you are talking about. Listen, if you have 10 businesses and then somebody come and add 20 to it, is it the same 10?
Well, it doesn't mean the person built 30 businesses.
So at least we built 20 businesses.
You did not even build 20. Call that the ones you built from scratch. There's no. I mean, anyway, I didn't wrap up.
Let me say this. We'll get about 60 from the scratch. And now from here, right?
That is not true. It's a false statement. It's not true. It's false.
All right, but we gotta move on from you. So let me bring in what do you call it? Let me bring in a file on this one quickly.
No, Mr. Moses, it's my turn.
It's
there you come.
No, my turn. I want
it's this time and you want me to talk. It's his turn.
It's my turn.
Yeah.
Before Ofaya will talk, okay. The reason I want Ofaya to talk is that Ofaya did not finish with his submission. Before I will state over here that Kojo DCN, if you have such three of people in this MPP, the NCP can collapse.
I'm going to bring Ofaya back after on. I just want to introduce this E-Levy one, and then we bring Ofaya.
You're not being fair.
Let me speak.
If you are here, you are here. If you are not here, you can't.
No, you should give his time to me. You should give his time to me.
No. I don't think we should tolerate that. If I'm not coming, and then
Paul, let me have your time. Paul, let me have your time.
Come on now.
Let me have your time, Paul.
We want to hear different voice than the same voice over and over again.
Okay, let me take it.
No, Paul, let me take it. You have your time. Let me use your time. I want to talk about something.
You go and we continue with the program. Let the host do it. Don't say next time when I'm not coming, I'll give my time to
bring you back in and give you as much time as you want.
Let me talk.
Just take your notes. Yeah.
Let me talk. Look.
Okay, but 3 minutes, please.
You see, when my good brother Ifa is under pressure, that is why he tries to interject. He should tell his camera, let me see his face. He tried to interject to try to make a lot of noise. Look, the submissions I've made this afternoon, the submission that Ofaya have made this afternoon, Ifa and Kojo DC have been making a lot of infatual statements over here this afternoon. As we speak, I am putting it to Kojo DC and Rifa, apart from a Kumfri juice factory. They should mention to us on this show which other factory has been built from scratch. I want to hear from them. There's none. So therefore, if we are talking
about no. If you want me to give you one,
Okujoto broker said he saw nine.
Please let him finish so we can move on.
He answered the question, right? Okujoto broker said he went around and he saw 9. When was that? That was in 2018. But this time we have about whatever.
Okay, can I talk, Ifa? Can I talk?
See? But then don't ask us question. Then I would have given you all the list, some of the list right now. Now I'm getting to my car so I can give you.
Is it, Mr. Muzum?
Yeah.
If you have a government, okay, who deceived the good people of Ghana, who lied to the good people of Ghana, who claimed things that they cannot do. And the good people of Ghana voted for them, and they are now in power. And they find themselves in a hole, and they want to come out. They will blame Mahama for everything.
Right.
It is very disappointing that 5 years, getting to 6 years in government, Ifa and my good brother Kojo Disi will come to this show, and they are not even ashamed to be blaming Mahama. Still, while they've been in power for over 6 years, it's almost 6 years they've been in power. Kojo Disi was trying to debunk the budget deficit of 15.7, which happened in 2020, and you've just shown the document to him.
Well, let me show another one to him too, because I pull out the Zimbabwe one.
You see,
the Zimbabwe one here shows a budget deficit of 2.9%.
Exactly.
So where Kojo is pulling the 20 whatever percent, I'm amazed. Let me just show it to you quickly.
It's very good in strangling and then trying.
Look at this. Let me read this to you. It says the budget deficit. This is Zimbabwe Market Outlook. It says the budget deficit rose from 2.7% in 2019 to 2.9% in 2020. So where you actually got to the deficit of 23%, I have no clue. And that is very disappointing. I hope that when you say these things that you actually are saying them factually. This program is being listened to by so many people. So please. Okay, somebody dropped. All right, go ahead.
So as I said, you see, my good brother Kojo Disi is just throwing dust. In fact, he's throwing stones into our eyes this afternoon.
Right.
He comes here to just, juggle figures, just like the way the president and the vice president have been doing to the good people of Ghana. Look, the 2024 election is going to be based on fact, figures, and data.
I'm back. I can respond to you when you're ready. I'm sorry, I was working.
Yeah, I'll bring you back. Don't worry.
Which will be collaborated by the independent body, the CSO, the World Bank, the IMF. They will collaborate all these figures when the time comes.
Okay.
Just trying to conclude to say to Ifa that whether they like it or not, this government is the most abysmal and the most visionless and the most directionless government ever in the history of the Fourth Republic.
All right. Thank
you. Why?
So
because this government is the luckiest government, the most government that has been resourceful when it comes into money. Mr. Amos, example, in 2020, before COVID strike, their budget deficit was around 12 billion. But when COVID strike, the money that was given to them by IMF, World Bank, the CSO, Bank of Ghana for the consolidation fund, all this money were up to $33 billion, which when you convert to Ghana cedis about something which Mahama mentioned. What did they use this money for? There should be the government that should be performing better than any other government. But if you look at the figure and data, they are the worst performing government in the Fourth Republic. And I'm very sad, disappointed that my good brother Ifa will come and be defending his super incompetent government here. And after the show, I feel very sad for Ifa. But I hope today, and I trust that moving forward, Ifa, when he comes to defend his government, he should come with figures, fact, and data, actual figures, not try to throw stones into our eyes. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ifa. So let's switch gears quickly and spend another 15 minutes and bring the show to an end. I want to talk about e-levy. The former president also says that a new National Democratic Congress government, God willing, and with the vote of the sovereign people of Ghana in 2025, will repeal the e-levy act. There's been so much attempts to actually, injunct the implementation. We know the judgment just came back negative on that. The substantive matter is still in court to be decided on. But some of the MPP folks, and I'm sure you would also state that maybe by the fourth year or by the third year in 2025, when Mahama will come into government, that the e-levy would have already been raking in some amount of money. If he kind of repeals it, how is he going to get, that fund to support his government? So I would not be the one to make that point for you. What do you say to that? He said he's going to repeal e-levy. Do you, agree with that, or do you think it's just a political statement?
No. We've already said that it's a scam. Now, and why do we say that?
Right.
We're going to look at a couple of stuff in the past to judge the NDC on.
Okay.
Now, the NDC is fond of making some of these utterances just to win political power and then won't do anything about it. One is the Jubilee House, all right? So the Jubilee House, they told us in 2008, when Kufuor had not even commissioned and stayed in it, that they were going to use it for hen coup. They never did. They also told us that they made a lot of noise about it, that we needed money for this, we were not supposed to have done this. The second point was the Ghana Telecom, okay, which was sold to Vodafone. Right. That it was shrouded in corruption and blah blah. We've done this, we've done that. We weren't quiet. Nothing happened. They just set up some shambolic committee to just whatever, they go and sit in somewhere, just write something for purposes of this. Now, the major one was the talk tax. The talk tax introduced by Kufuor. What did NDC not say? Hey, you're charging us for this. You're doing this to us. You're doing this to the good people of Ghana.
The CST, right? The Communication Services Tax.
Yes. But they came to power. What did they do? You see, I sitting here. If NDC is not coming to power in 2025, if NDC come to power, okay, I will urge them to increase the e-levy. Add at least a certain percentage to it. And that is exactly what they're going to do. They're not going to. Okay, so you're going to take it off and replace it with what?
Because they don't need to replace it because, it's a news and stats, according to...
Okay, so whatever it is doing, okay, what we've projected ourselves to use the money for, you're going to abandon those things?
What are you going to use the money for?
It is like telling them that...
You're going to use the money to kind of fund entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah. It is entrepreneurs, expand digitization, and then road infrastructure.
What is the meaning of expanding digitization? Nobody knows that.
What do you say?
What will we be doing with digitization again?
Oh, we need to do more in the area of digitization. A lot in the area. Okay, so maybe we're going to be experiencing. It depends, right? Maybe when they sit down, maybe they say our cyber security is not strong enough. Can we strengthen it?
Maybe, or you have a sort of a plan, because you just can't be tasking us and be telling us that maybe you will do this.
Okay. Amuzu, we can't go into. If we say road, then you're gonna ask me. So where are you gonna build a road? So once the budget comes,
exactly what are you gonna do?
Yeah, but me and you are in finance. Some of these things, let's not argue about. Once we have the money, then we sit down and look at what is most important. What do we have a challenge? Then we go in. It don't work like that. But at least we have identified the areas that it's going to go. Okay, so we know that it's going into you start entrepreneurship. It's going to go here and here. Okay, so once we have it, then we look at it and say, oh, maybe we can sponsor 200 entrepreneurs, okay? So of the 200, we're going to look at this area, that area, that area, okay? So that the details will be worked out as we go along.
Okay.
I don't have the details as government has worked along, and therefore I cannot. But at least they've given us something to start with.
Okay.
And that is something.
Take 2 more minutes and wrap up for me. It's
and that is something. So we see. So, could you 1 second? So,
no, I'm not going to say it. I'm just saying something. Amuzo and Ofaya and Paul, I apologize. I have to leave because I'm being sworn in as the organizer for the Washington chapter today, so I have to leave. But
all right.
Okay, and I will not take your time.
Let me just ask him: Is it Kwajo DC who is the host for Sankofa Radio? Is he the one?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Kwajo.
All right, Kwajo. Bye bye.
If you want to say something before you leave, that's fine. So if you can
we'll talk later.
Let me say I apologize for the numbers that I gave. If you give me the right thing, I will withdraw. going to go out and defend it. So I apologize on that. And like I said, I've never been on this. Whilst I'm on my road, I can't get everything for you. That is the. I wish I was home today. I just got home, about to pack and go swan in for my thing. So next week, inshallah, we all will meet here. We'll meet and then we'll debate.
Okay. Do you still host your program? Do you host your program again?
No. I quit to join the party and be a communicator, so that I won't be biased.
Oh,
like you know me anyhow.
All right. Okay.
The way he used to battle me back and forth with questions. That's why I'm asking him.
I know, yeah. I wasn't going to be neutral, but he can't hold himself. I didn't do that. That's why I quit, so that I could speak for my party. So all the best, guys, and I appreciate you, Paul, everybody. Okay, we'll speak.
All right, thank you.
Black sheep in white cloth on duty.
All right, thank you, Kojo.
All the best. Thank you, sir.
Congratulations, Kojo.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, guys. So if I guess 1 more minute to wrap up. And
exactly. So to wrap up, we've seen this in the past. You see, as we grow in the political arena, they should sometimes spare us, this thinking that we all have short memory and we are unable to, kind of think through and say that, this thing that you're saying, you're not going to cancel it. It won't. You won't repeal it. We need more revenue, more so when you've not given us. So when you have in your manifesto that you're going to tax across board,
go ahead.
When you have in your manifesto, I mean, as recently as 2020, that you are going to have an across-board levy on electronic transactions, and you're going to say this area is going to be exempted. Come on now. I mean, I'm expecting something, but we'll take them for their words, and that tells you that if they're really going to do this, then it means that they're going to come and jump us into more debt. They gave us over 1,000%. I don't know this time around, whenever they get opportunity, how many percent they're going to add more, and that is going to be a devastation to the economy. That is going to destroy us, and then we should continue to keep because we are the best managers of the economy.
That's where they change.
All right, thank you so much. Let's bring in Afayao. This is your time to shine.
You want to get it, fine, but I don't think you should wear booted book. If you want to wear the book.
All right, sorry about that. Afayao, you heard the former president. He says he's going to repeal the e-levy, and the question being asked is, of course, all this revenue has to be used for or earmarked for other things like Youth Start and all these other things that every government loves to have revenue in their hand. So in this case, if you repeal the e-levy, then what? What are you gonna do? Where are you gonna get money to fund all the things that we need done in Ghana? Are you gonna go back to the IMF? We definitely don't want to do that. So this is an attempt to actually raise some revenue domestically. And we've witnessed in the past where government will promise they are going to repeal certain specific taxes, but when they come into power and the reality hits them, they don't repeal those taxes. So how do we treat this thing that President John Dramani Mahama is talking about? Should we take it with a pinch of salt?
Thank you very much. Actually, the repealing there is coming up January 20. As soon as we come into government, like Mahama said, we are going to repeal it. In the sense that, this government, Amuzu, when they were coming into government, they told us they were going to move us from taxation to production, right? They were going to move the economy from taxation to production. There's not going to be taxes no more. But Omia even told us that you just move around the toll booths and you can raise the fund. I work in Bank of Ghana. The money is here. We don't have to borrow to build this country. Is that not what they said? Is that not their words? They came into government and they started borrowing. When we started questioning, they said, "Oh, we didn't say we will not borrow, but we will borrow wisely." Borrowing wisely is what have taken us to where we are today. Amuzu, Frank, Alfred, is that not it? So we have seen that This government is a rather government of taxation, rather, instead of what they say they are moving from taxation to production. It's not true. Let me tell you, just give you some taxes under this current government. Taxes that were levied under this government. We have tax stamps, we have common service tax, we have petroleum levies, we have VAT 12.5%, VAT VHIL 2.5%, VAT flat rate 3%, VAT get fund 2.5%, corporate tax, we have the pay, we have the rent tax, we have vehicle income tax, we have capital gains tax, we have gift tax, we have imported duty tax, we have exercise tax, we have stamp tax, we have tourism tax, we have environmental tax, we have sanitation tax, we have COVID-19 tax, we have EDIF levy tax, we have ECOWAS tax, Alfred, we have GIF tax, and they're yet to be, what do you call it, e-levy tax. So if you count all these taxes, we have 24 taxes, Amuzu. The people are already overburdened with taxes. Are you getting it? Right. And this is what we are saying. Even Alfred, look at COVID. Every country is trying to give some stimulus package to help their citizens. We are being taxed. We have taxed our people to pay for COVID. How does it make sense, Alfred? It doesn't make sense. So all this tax is making the country the people are too overburdened with the taxes. And that is why we say when we come, we will repeal it. Are you getting it? Let me tell you, this government, we have what it takes to do. They could have done without the e-levy because they borrowed 280 billion. They didn't use that to start U-Start. They didn't use that to start a factory. They didn't have to do anything. They have consumed everything. With 3 oil fields, Alfred, do you need an e-levy? President Mahama managed only 1 oil field with little scanty money that came into his hand. Look at the mighty things he did. Infrastructure, expanding of Tema Harbor, Takoradi Harbor, building all regional hospitals, district hospitals, what do you call it? Cheap compounds, roads, a market, Kumasi, Kotokuraba, Kejetia market, Asawasi market. Look at it. All this will create employment, right? What are the e-levy 6.9? Is that what will create jobs? Is that what when you are borrowed 280 billion? You see, all that they are saying doesn't make sense. It's just that they have found themselves in a hole and they want an avenue whereby they can elevate or take themselves out. That is the e-levy for you. Are you getting it? They can abolish the e-levy because e-levy is like the people, you are not taxing a job done, somebody's profit, and you are taxing it. Is it not a nuisance tax? So the people are overburdened. So all that we are saying is that when we get the power in 2025, we are going to, and it is easy. If you look at our manifesto, Alfred, 2020 manifesto addresses everything, and we'll be able to do it without e-levy. The big push is there. The technical education setting up in all districts to help people get their already made employment, concentrating on the technical education at the tertiary level on all the levels so that they will come out with the technical know-how to set up their own businesses. They are calling U-Start and stuff. We shall do that. With the requisite technical know-how, we'll be able to do everything. Have you said it? So if they want any this thing to be their solution, our manifesto is there. Our 2020 manifesto is the panacea to our multiple economic problems we are having in the country right now. But they won't listen. Are you getting it? So this e-levy, Alfred, you are a government. You have to be sensitive to the people. You have to listen to the plight of the people, right? The people, about 80% of the people are saying they don't want the e-levy. The government still went on to pass the e-levy and take it from them. Are you listening to your citizenry? They are not. Have you seen it? So this government is using 2 types of leadership, autocracy and laissez-faire. That is why things are in disarray in our country like that. He's using 2 types of leadership. Let me mention it again. Autocracy and laissez-faire. Laissez-faire type of leadership is the type of leadership you allow everybody to do whatever they want. That is why the security is broken down. Everything is broken down. Everybody does whatever he wants. And stealing and looting from the public purse is the hour of the day. Because laissez-faire means allow them to do whatever they want. Have you seen it? And the president is also adding autocracy. Autocracy, that is why today, if you talk a little about the government, they arrest you. Are you getting it? If you are operating to, you trying to be a charismatic leader like Rawlings 1 and 2 did, a charismatic leader as Kufuor did, a charismatic leader as Mahama did, a charismatic leader as Atames did. There wouldn't be this kind of arresting journalists and stuff. And let me end with this, Alfred. Don't forget that the president, when he was sworn in, he told us that we should be citizens and not spectators, right?
Right.
That thing is a very big statement he made. That is telling us that nobody should sit on the fence. We should all be on board. Say as you see it, have you seen it? To be able, so that we all come on board to build our country. But today, if you were trying to be a citizen and not a spectator, you've been arrested. You will come and after you, especially journalists, any other person. If you are trying to express your mind about this government, they will come after you. So they have said, the government have said this thing and is doing the other. A typical irony in this government. And that is what is going on in all the departments in our country. And that is why Mahama said we have come to the crossroad. Let me end with this. The crossroad is a short poem that I learned in SS1. He said, we have come to the crossroad and I must either leave or come with you. I lingered over the choice, but in the darkness of my doubt, you lifted a lamp of love, and I saw in your face the road that I should take. It was a short poem written by Kwesi Brew. It's only one stanza. You know, I did literature. And it is exactly what Mahama is saying here. We have come to the crossroad under Akufo-Addo. And we Ghanaians must linger and decide that we kick this government out so that we can have our freedom and let our country develop again. Not until we do that, we shall forever be in this mess. So Ghana can only work again when President Akufo-Addo and the APP are kicked out so that we have a new government, Mahama, who is the nation builder, who has done it before and is ever ready to come and continue the good work so that he can build jobs, build infrastructures and open jobs for people so that the youth will still have the hope in our country. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So let's go to Afa. Afa, this is going to be the last thing we talk about, which is the alternative solutions that has been proffered by the former president. He says that, first of all, that we should get rid of, or the president should get rid of the Minister of Finance, because the Minister of Finance is conflicted. He does borrowing because it benefits him and his firm. Both him and his deputy minister have companies that are invested in our borrowing, and that's all they do. So he's advising that the president should get rid of him. Second, he's asking that the president to reconstitute the economic management team and remove Bawumia as its manager. He says that Bawumia has led the economy into all the troubles we currently have, running the highest GDP to debt to GDP ratio, worst credit ratings and downgrades, the worst performing currency in the world, the worst crisis of confidence in our economy, the highest world prices ever rising inflation and unprecedented hardship. That because of those reasons that he should actually get rid of Bawumia as the EMT and bring somebody new. He also says that we should reshuffle cabinet. That the ministers have been in place since for the last 5 years, and they've become gods in their individual ministries to be feared, or they've become monarchs of what they survey. He says they lack the energy, the passion, and the idea to turn moribund situations within the ministries, departments, and agencies. And he says that fresh ideas are needed to boost morale in those ministries. He also says that we should have a consultative approach to post-COVID recovery. In other words, we should go back to the people and do something like he did with the Senchi conference, where he brought outsiders in who are not part of government to gather ideas or elicit ideas from people with regards to what needs to be done to actually bring the economy back in shape after the COVID. And then he says that we should reduce government expenditure by reducing the number of ministries, etc., etc. He says we should have the president should use the presidential jets instead of renting, private jets whenever he's traveling overseas, as a way of reducing government expenditure. He says we should standardize the salaries and emoluments of the states organizations or the state enterprises, CEOs of the state enterprises or CEO of the SOEs, so that we save some costs, because these people make loss all the time. That's even the energy sector recorded 9 billion in losses from the year 2019 to 2021. He said even recently we've seen that they've lost about almost 3 billion or so just this year alone or so, as states, and all these losses have to be coughed up by the citizens, and this is why we see all these taxes being introduced. So we should standardize their pay. These people make all these losses, but we pay them astronomical amounts of money in salaries and benefits. He says that we should issue moratorium on non-concessional borrowing so that state enterprises will not continue to be borrowing in the name of the government. And the last one I'm going to read out here is that he says we should revitalize the sinking fund from all the windfalls that we would be getting from the crude oil prices. So we budgeted that the crude oil prices were going to be at $60 per barrel or so, but now that they've exceeded $100 a barrel, it is causing us to actually have this windfall, and all those money should be put into a sinking fund to retire the bonds that will become due in 2025. Because in 2025, a lot of the bonds, the zero coupon bonds and all those other ones that we got over the years are going to mature, and it's going to cause a lot of problems. So it would be best for us to use the windfall from the petroleum to retire that. Those are the alternative solutions that has been proposed by the former president. What do you say?
Yes, thank you very much, Amus. None of what he said is original from him. There's not a single statement made here that it's peculiar to Mahama.
Okay.
These are things that have been in the news. He packages them and he's presenting it to us. And some of these things, right? Some of the things he's enumerating, I'll take them one by one. I think that have been with us before he came on the scene. I think that have been with us since he has been an assemblyman, minister, and all that. And he has had the power. He has had the power to have changed these things. And you see, that is why when he talks, not that I don't like him. When he talks, refer to your policy when you came that I did this. Okay, so these things are not anymore. Right, but you are rehashing things that we are discussing in the system. Okay, that when you came, we were discussing. You didn't do anything about it. You sit down and say, "Oh, when I get a chance, do it this way and that way." The finance minister, right? Me sitting here, I don't take him off the scene. I don't get it. People can criticize him for some of the decisions he's made. Me, for instance, if we take the banking sector cleanup, right? The amount of money we spend there is too much for us as a country. That is not even my issue. But the recovery has been very slow. And that part, I don't know if we should attribute to him, right? We should attribute to some other stuff. He is not a perfect man, but not like just any other person. But we saw the economic growth since then, right? I mean, some of these things, somebody will say, it was projected to blah, 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 and all that. Okay? So if you say it was projected to, okay, so from when he took over from Mills, it was projected to go down, 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 down. No. Because that was a strong economy that was given to him then to run. And this is what we saw. So I don't get that part. Okay, if at any point in time, this is a political appointment. If at any point in time the appointing authority feels that things are not going way, so I want the fresh ideas, I want to bring on board someone else, or he thinks it's not, that is perfectly fine. But me sitting here, he is performing a fantastic. There's a lot of challenges that has confronted some of the policies that have been put in place. So that the economic management team is just an attack on Bawumia. I mean, if I compare Bawumia as vice president and him as vice president, I'll choose Bawumia any day, to do what he's doing and to continue to give us the best of what he can offer. So that is not. Now, he's talking about broad consultation like the Senchi. Which aspect of the Senchi did he implement? That they went to Senchi to get a homegrown. After that, they went to the IMF. Okay, we have done our broad consultation too. We've listened. we decided that we're not going to go to the IMF. Oh, no. We are not going to hand over the country to somebody to tell us do this. When all that we are asking is...
But they say the only reason you don't want to go to the IMF is you don't want to open your books to scrutiny.
That is not the case.
Because
he went to IMF for the IMF to scrutinize their books. Anything that we've gotten from the IMF, whatever we've given them, they've been satisfied and they keep us giving what we want. So what is he talking about? The IMF is satisfied with the covert expenses that we've given them. It is only in Ghana that people are talking blah, blah. But what we've given, you see, one thing we all must know, the IMF is not a place, these Bretton Woods institutions, World Bank is not a place where they know, right? They know. They can verify these things. You can't go there and just say anything that we want. But it is not a question of opening up of books. It is a question of pride. It is a question of, can you do it? It is a question of what alternative do you have?
Right.
Okay. And under the circumstances, if you tell me that Ghana today, we've gone to the IMF for heaven's sake 16 times, and we still keep saying it is like a coup. We've been killing and going through coup and changing government. We've not been able to fix. So why do you think that is a solution? It's not.
Just a little detour. So continue on your points. You have a lot of
exactly. So the broad consultation we've done, okay. They've contributed. Some of it is, on the daily basis, there's a lot of things that is going. We shouldn't have the assumption that we don't have a system to listen to all that is happening in the rural areas, in the city, and all these things inform government policy. That is why some of the policies you see is so unpopular. Then the president will say, hey, let's take this off. Let's do more consultation. And the e-levy was a big example there. The toll levy was a big example, and a couple of other things in the past. It is not because, we didn't think, but, it's a human thing. They don't like it. You have to recoil and come back again and bring it on board. So we've done that. Now, the CEOs not performing. They've not been performing, but it is a good call. That one, it's a good call. Okay. Most of these CEOs, most of these state institutions need to be abolished or privatized. But in privatizing them, privatize them for the Ghanaian. Don't go and privatize them for the foreigners.
Right. So that's one of the things he said too. He says we should try to increase our percentage of GNP, which is the gross national product, as a percentage of the GDP.
Yes,
so,
but I agree with him on all that he said. What did he do? You should give us what you do. Don't talk as if it's a fresh person coming. Don't talk to us as if it's Ayariga. It's Ayariga talking. Talk to us as if when I was there, I did this and I did that and I did that, which ensured this, and it is not there, and stuff like that. The negotiation, when he was there, he sold the port. I was going to make that point, I forgot. He sold the port to Ballon, the French guy, for 30-something years, for which the port things have increased. And you come and sit here and you blame the current government for all of that stuff. So some of these things, yes, we need to do them. Our percentage that we get from our resources that we give to these foreigners. The fact that over the years we've not put in place a mechanism for technology transfer and for resource transfer to ourselves. It's a shame unto us. But you've been there before. You didn't do anything. You got booted out. And you come and you rehash and keep saying the same thing over and over again, as if you're talking about fresh stuff. It is unfortunate. And that is the disingenuous part of it. That is the dishonest part of the whole conversation. Okay? And so there is nothing new in there. It is a rehash of all that people are saying on there. There is not that drastic thing that he's going to do to change anything. He's just finding a way to get in there and cause more havoc and cause more damage, and not coming in to help with anything. When you were there, you were saying that you were not a magician to employ. When you were there, you were complaining about the power situation is because people are charging their mobile phones too much. Look at the data of mobile phones then and the data of mobile phones now. What are we talking about here? So he should go and revise his note. I don't think that this man has anything new for us. He cannot manage the economy. He shouldn't be trusted. And that 2024 whoever emerges as MPP candidate, vote for him and let him come and continue with the good development that we have in the country. The bridges that are ongoing, the schools, the projects that have been pending for years, that have been continued. We need to continue to see these things, and we need to continue to bash and hold the government accountable to give us more. The drones, the ambulances, all these things, and then the increases in salary and all that, which will push the government to do these things. And when all these things have been done, that is when we can say that, yes, we did it. We are not going to bring on another person that will come and say, oh, because I want them to abandon all these projects and let me bring fresh one, only to come and squander the money when everything has been paid for that project. When they say money has been paid for projects, they were talking about sacrament. And that, if that thing is not prosecuted to its logical conclusion, we will not be paying Ghana good. Thank you very much, Mr. Amuzo.
Thank you so much. Let's take your last word. Everybody has taken a bow for one or two other reasons. So let me take your last word, and then we'll bring today's to an end.
Ofaya is gone.
I think Ofaya.
That is fine. Okay, so Amuzo, it's always a pleasure to be here. Correct. I'm always grateful. I always say, I'm replaceable, and sometimes when we come on, one or two may not go the way we want it, in the course of our passion to defend our love for party and country, we may go a way that may not be distant. But we appreciate the comments that people do, and the fact that when we come here, they come and watch us. Right. Mr. Egan, if I don't mention some of their names, they should forgive me. My good friend, B Flat, he knows himself. The number one sports show presenter. I love that guy so much and his program. They should continue to give us the best, and they should make Akko Radio the best out there. Mr. Amuzu, I always pray for you to become the best globally as far as diaspora radio and political show host is concerned. And we are always going to continue our part. Whatever we come here, we do that does not go well. We will want feedback from our listeners, or we want feedback from you. We always want to come here and give the best. And we are always going to come and give our best. Now, in Ghana, we have two political parties. It is good that we have opposition and ruling. Let us all contribute our quota towards the national development in terms of infrastructure, in terms of laws, in terms of fighting against corruption, and make sure that our youth gets employed and that we create the enabling environment for everybody to feel part of the country. The resources that we get, everybody must be part of it. They must feel that the resources are being used to develop it. Let me say this to my government. The e-levy has come. We are collecting the money. Some of us, we are watching with eagle eyes, Papa. You see the way I've opened my eyes? We are watching. And we're going to ask for every penny to be accounted. And I believe my party will do just that. Thank you very much, Mr. Amuzu. God bless us. God always give us the confidence and the knowledge and the health to come here and deliver as we always do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Afa, for taking the time to join us today. Even though you're on the road with the family, you made time for this show, and we always appreciate that. And of course, your contributions as well. You have a very big voice on this show, and I'm glad that you are always able to make the time for us each time we call upon you. I want to also take the opportunity to thank Ofayao for appearing first time on the show and offering us. Okay, so Ofayao is back. Ofayao. The last piece I asked we already closing the show, but let me take your last word.
I was off small. The battery ran down.
Okay. So the last thing I asked so far, I think you heard it, where I listed the things that the former president wants to do in terms of. So if you want to combine that with your last words, I'm happy to take that. I don't know if you need me to go through the list again, but he made so many recommendations. He says the Minister of Finance should be fired. Should be removed from. Yeah,
exactly. Let me just take it. You see, because we don't have time, we almost close. So I'll just take it from there. I support the idea that the Ministry of Finance, especially the Finance Minister, he should be fired because he's not helping us. You know what? We are in this problem because of the Finance Minister, and the President too is part of it, because the Finance Minister has take interest in borrowing because any amount that he borrows, he make profit from it. Alfred, that is a problem we are facing today. Any amount that he goes to borrow, he float bonds, he borrow money, his bank data bank make profit from it. So he's not thinking about the nation. He's thinking about what he will get from the taxpayer. And that has brought us this far. Because you told us we are not going to borrow, like I made my earlier submission. Is that not what they told us? They told us we are moving from taxation to what? Production. So we are not going to borrow. Even the vice president, the current vice president, then told us that we can easily raise the money. He works in Bank of Ghana. The money is in Ghana. We don't have to borrow. Mr. Alfred, is that not what they were telling us?
Isn't that what?
Then all of the sudden, what led to this reckless borrowing? Our problems we are facing today is a matter of what? Reckless borrowing. By Alfred, Mahama developed the country with just some scanty amount, with just one oil field. And then he borrowed not more than 60 billion. Adding to his revenue and taxes, gave us that, in all gave us the 120. Even with some debt that we were left with during Kufuor's time, right? And look at, so if you take that amount from what Kufuor left Mahama used about almost 90 billion from his taxes, his borrowed money he borrowed, and then the oil money and whatsoever to develop and do all those big projects. And that is what's helping us to grow. When we were leaving government, Alfred, if you can recall, the international bodies told us that from 2017, 18, and 19, Ghana's economy was going to boost up, isn't it? So this thing they were talking of that, this percentage in terms of GDP, what was done, it is the good work of President Mahama, because all the bodies have said it, because of the good infrastructure, roads, market, hospitals, the economy was going to what? To revamp, is going to build up because of the good thing he did with that scanty thing. Today, Alfred, they have two more oil fields, Sankofa and Ten and Jubilee, making 3. They are harvesting 200,000 barrels a day. That is the oil we are harvesting a day, Alfred. During our time, it was even less than 100,000. Even let me run it to the nearest 10, 100,000. Today we are harvesting 200. What does that tell you? Revenue have doubled, right? And then they are the government that have benefited from taxes and other things more than any other government. That is what Mahama sum up, and he's giving you about 400 billion, right? 400 to 500 billion money that have come into their hands. Mahama never even got quarter. Should Mahama have gotten quarter of their money, Ghana would have been like America by now. Have you seen it? And you have all this money, Alfred. You have gotten all this gangantua money. You can only show us toilet and polytank. Are you getting it? They say to whom much is given, much is expected, right? And you have all this, you have mismanaged it, created 125 ministries, 25 ministers. When I was saying they were coming to debate it, after the list I gave you, that is how it is. Don't mind them. I don't want to be going back and forth with them. So,
I think you've lost your sound.
Yeah?
Your sound is down now. Check your microphone.
Oh, okay. It's down, right? Okay. Let me check it. Let me check. So I actually
it's good now.
It's okay now.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you look at the whole thing, that is the problem. And Keno Forata are taking interest in borrowing because of what I told you. When he borrow, the more he borrow, the more his bank makes money for his family. Have you gotten it? So it is a planting. Let me tell you one thing. It is a very big mistake, and I don't know why it should that happen. Why should the president appoint his own cousin as finance minister? That should tell you the beginning of the robbery of our country. Have you seen it? Me, I said this thing when he was appointed as finance minister. I said, Akufo-Addo is going to rob our nation. And that is exactly all that I said. It has come to pass. You see, they have connived to steal from the nation because he cannot do it, but he put people in strategic places. Are you getting it? And they are stealing for him. When he leave government, his family will be depending on that money.
But that is a very strong statement.
Yeah, that's a kind of.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that is what is happening, and that is what they have done. They have connived. All that is going on. Akufo-Addo is aware. Why is it that he's not reshuffling? Alfred, every government that comes reshuffle, right? Keno Forata is not doing well. He's still there. Why is he still there?
You're saying that when you make those statements, they are like really You're stating a statement of fact, which
this is a fact. This is a fact. All Ghanaians are aware. Just that they don't want to. They don't want to say.
You can say that
one instance of
when he goes to the markets to borrows, that he uses his firm data banks to go do that, and that is a conflict of interest. That's understandable.
Okay, that is okay. Okay,
knife to steal from the country.
But that is what I see. That is okay. You're okay. That is what I see. If you don't see it that way, let me take it that way. He's using data bank. Let me put it that way for them. He's using data bank to borrow from that, and then let me use it that way. But from what I've seen,
but also you have NDC with 137 members of parliament who continue to approve these transactions. So
I'm coming there, and you know they had the numbers in those days, right? So we have no choice. As soon as they even I'm coming. I'm having my. I beg you, give me the time. You remember? You can recall that Alfred, when he first came out with the first big bond. It wasn't sent to Parliament, right? Can you recall that? Yeah, that big bond, 2.something billion, was not sent to Parliament. But they approve it. Are you getting it? So these are some of them. And they keep on, when they were having 169 in Parliament, most of those things were just being pushed out because the NDC were a minority and we don't have anything to say. That is why today we are putting them on check. Today that we have a balance, a hang Parliament, we are putting them on check, and they are still using the court. They are using what they look at the e-levy. E-levy, we said no. They managed to use their own way.
Why was he approved the second time?
All right, and let's wrap up. So
as I'm wrapping up, all that I can say, like our problems where we are today is what Mahama said is right. The finance minister has caused everything. Those in the Department of Finance, you know, Charles Adubuahin, which is also the Deputy Finance Minister, they own companies. And those companies are all making money from the monies they borrow. Are you getting it? So where are we going? They are there and they are thinking about their business, but not the nation. And that is what I've taken it this far. Change him, you will never reshuffle. Sack him, you will never sack him. Keno Furata is always the final. Why? Meanwhile, he's not performing. He said you have a solid economic management team. Alfred, look at the name Baumia told us when they came into government. He said, what a solid economic management team, isn't it? Okay. Today, what is a solid economic management team? He even quiz.
Okay, so give us your last words. I know you stretched this point, yes.
Okay, my last word is that with the term that Mahama used, we have come to the crossroads. As I told you, it's a poem written by Kwesi Brew. I learned it in SS1. It is a poem that between two lovers, where there is a confusion, and at the end of the day, they didn't know what to do. So one decided to find a way. How isn't it? To depart, and then their problem will be solved. It's exactly what Mahama told us. We have come to the crossroads under this government. Everything is in disarray. Things are falling apart. All the promises they gave us before they came into government, they have not been able to do it. They promised us heaven, they are delivering hell, and everything is in shambles. When we come to corruption, we can't even I will not even go there. We didn't even mention that. Have you seen it? Corruption, if you are talking about this government, you want to assess them, they have only 3 achievements, Alfred. 1, corruption, breeding of corruption, and stealing from the public purse. And it transcends from all the departments. And that is the only achievement of this government. Besides that, they don't have anything. When they were talking about unemployment situation, let me hit on that and end. During Mahama's time, unemployment situation was 5.4, and they complain about it. After today, as I speak, 2022, unemployment rate is 13.4. Which one is better? Have you seen it? You came there, you were coming to create jobs. Alfred, I'm ending with this. The central dominant or unifying idea in the manifesto of the MPP from 2012 to 2016 was to come and create jobs, right? But as I speak, all local banks, Susu and loans and banks were collapsed, right? And about 100 and something people, 1,000 people have lost their jobs and their home. Are you creating jobs? Let's go to the mining sector. I am not going to collapse Galamsey. Mahama is working somewhere telling people that I'm coming to call me. Akufo-Addo have not said it anywhere. I'm rather coming to make sure that I'll do it so that you all have job to do. Today is Galamsey collapse or not? Are you getting it? And these are the areas that our people are trying to find something to feed themselves. Maybe one Alfred. And then what you know, microfinance near this work and then near to crano and e-levy. Momo Ayika crank for ye did so what become tina. This government is purposely known for what? The collapsing of businesses, collapsing of jobs. They don't create it all. Somebody have created it and they have come to collapse it. So in order for us to solve our problem, come 2025, Ghanaians have seen it. That is why they are calling for Mahama to come. In 2020, they were voted out, but they said they won't go. They used the Supreme Court and the unanimous FC and the EC. A unanimous FC and the EC to be in power. So they're breaking the aid that they are talking about. Alfred, tell my friend, Efa, don't stop dreaming because you lost 2020. And what makes you to win 2024? When your government have performed abysmally, everybody can attest to the fact that you have performed and you are still performing abysmally.
Thank you.
So how are you going to break the 8 when all your indicators in all the 5 thematic areas in governance, which are economy, security, education, health, and what? The economy, education, security, health, and the other one, employment. Alfred, all these 5 areas have gone backwards. We are falling down in all the areas. How are we going to break the 8? So the break the 8 chorus is just for something keke. They are just saying it. They have been booted out of government already. And the nation builder, John Mahama, and the NDC is coming in January 2025 to refix the country for Ghana to work again. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, so viewers and listeners, you'll be watching the Ghana Agenda, and you've heard all those spirited discussions that we've just had. That person you just heard is called Wafa Yao, and he's representing the MPP at the NDC. I'm so grateful for him joining for the first time. We are definitely bringing him back to continue giving us his views on things as far as our country Ghana is concerned, and the things that are happening with this current government as the weeks go. So, Ofa, you have a seat on this show. Please come back next week or week after. Whenever you're ready, let me know, and I'll put you on the show. All right. I also want to say a big thanks to Kojo DC and congratulate him again for winning to become an executive member of the DC chapter of NPP. Again, FR for hanging around all this time. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate you and everything you do for us week by week. Paul Disoso for coming and also contributing to this show and making it great and stronger. I also want to say my regards to my big brother, Lifetime Legacy, who actually called earlier to come on the show, even though he was actually somewhere servicing his car, and I have to let him go because we have enough people today. Again, this is Ghana Agenda for May 7, 2022. My name is Alfred Amuzu. You've heard it all. Today we discussed what we heard from the former president, John Dramani Mahama, and you see, this is how the arguments goes week by week. We'll be back next week, and when it's Saturday at 2 p.m. it's Ghana Agenda. Please tell a friend to tell a friend, share the link. We'll see you again. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. All right, guys, thank you so much. We'll be back.